No, you weren't going to say that word.
No. I was going to say you get on your.
Kevin, you are a lying sack of.
You're a bad liar, by the way.
Jesus.
I was going to look 2 minutes later. I was going to say Glock. Right.
Glock.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 27. Please share it out. We have actually a little jump of viewers to start, which is great. So keep hopping in, hit the share button, hit the like button. We are on day 100 and million, technically 147 of a 90-day quote unquote shadow ban. So we need your help. If we want to continue to keep spreading the love, spreading the news, please join us right here on Truth Will Set You Free. We've got a laundry list of topics today. Soonie just got back from the doctor. Mo clearly just went to the hair salon looking so fresh.
Yes, look at that. Blowout.
Yes, slay queen. We've got Kevin in the bottom that's still studying to become an astrophysicist, I believe. So he's only going to be with us for the rover.
I'm going to be here I'm here for the philosophy, Anthony.
Whatever. I think he's going to become a hipster and an Antifa member pretty soon. So
I am anti-fascist, so there is that.
You're Antifa?
Yes, problem.
Wait, you're Antifa?
Antifa is not.
No, I just anti-authoritarian in all accounts.
Oh.
I don't like communists either.
Okay, don't put anti-fascist in the same sentence ever again around me.
Well, no, I'm anti-fascist. Problem is that term
What? What?
Wow.
But it's the term has been bogarted. It's anti-fascism and anti.
It's been deboed.
Different. It's been ridiculous. Got a lot of people tuning in. Go ahead and say where you're from. Help us break the algorithm. We've got somebody actually cares if Soonie's okay from her fall. Personally, I just hope she learns how to take stairs better than Joe Biden. We got liberal Jay another time.
I didn't trip up the stairs. That's the difference.
True.
See, look, the difference is what happened was I was actually running and messed up.
I was running.
And I went running.
I just felt like running. We're gonna start with of course, with Roe versus Wade. We're gonna let a couple more people get on. Of course, anybody have anything fun coming up, going on in their life? Are you still doing radio this week? You're not gonna get an exit because you're just gonna go. So, Kevin, what's going on?
I still got the radio, 7 to 9 a.m. Mountain Time every single day. You guys are more than welcome to call in and actually have a chit chat.
I
got some time this week.
Ooh, I'd love to. I need people talking about this week.
You need to give me the number.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's 877-488-1360.
Mo's gonna call in talking about badges, bro. Don't do it.
I am. I'm gonna be like, can we
Don't
talk
do
about
it.
vagina?
Yeah? You're gonna get me kicked off the air, Mo? That's how much next? God,
hey, we can call in with a fake voice. We can do that.
If you need a little spice up, I will be there for you to switch the topic.
There we go. That's the call-in number if you ever want to join.
There we go.
It's great.
Everybody just call in and just load up the phone queue.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Alex Jones going right now, so you can catch a pretty good show.
Yeah, we're not going there. No.
With that said, guys, you know what time it is. It's the first couple minutes of the show, so we got to pray that somebody actually buys something from one of our sponsors here. So, and by sponsors, I mean affiliates. We don't get paid unless you decide to drop your hard-earned money. Friends, the world is in serious danger right now. Inflation is causing food prices to absolutely skyrocket, as we can see. The global supply chain continues to collapse, and the coming food shortages will be worse than anything we have lived through. In times like these, what should you do? Go to preparewithbtc.com and invest in a long-term emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply while you still can. My Patriot Supply is the largest preparedness company in America with millions of satisfied customers. Food lasts for 25 years in storage. It's when you need it. You're not going to have to, wait in the government food lines, etc. If you act now, you get $150 saving off the 3-month emergency food kit. Again, that's go to preparewithbtc.com. That is preparewithbtc.com. Save food kit. Boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes your internet.
Yeah, bye-bye goes the internet at the same time.
Who, mine?
That's preparewithbtc.com.
What happened to my internet?
It cut out.
Son of a biscuit.
It just got the last one. You're good.
You're good. It was only a short part, but it was just right as you said boom. It was perfect.
And anyways, and the last thing, I did mention this last week. I'm going to put the actual link in here. This is actually cool. This is not me thinking, oh, we got to let Mo back up. Thinking that you don't have to spend any money on anything except for you get to make money. If you have a business or you know somebody that owns a business, this is a link to ercspecialist.com. Just click that link and fill out a questionnaire. If you've got employees, you could actually make a lot of money on this ERC plan. It's like a PPP on steroids, and it's even if you got PPP, it'll help. So if you own a small business, you've got employees, please check that out. Facebook, I don't know if it let me play. Yeah, it did. Okay. Anyways, that's it. Let's go ahead and are you guys ready to get the show started?
I'm ready.
No.
Ready.
Can we start over? Will you repeat all of that again?
Oh no.
And I got a surprise for you guys.
New intro.
To Andre Anderson, that's one of Cash's made his videos from Cash.
Nice.
He hooked us up with that. Thanks a lot, Andre. I think we're going to be working on some other stuff with him. He's got a barbecue church thing coming up that I can't wait to tell you guys more about as well. So with that said, what are we talking about today in episode number 97? The Truth Will Set You Free. We're going to be talking, of course, Roe versus Wade. We're also going to be talking about Soonie trolling me. Talking about Caitlyn Jenner, that sandbagging son of a biscuit. We got the Disinformation Board, Nina Jackowofowitz, student loan forgiveness. And then Nancy Schiff went to go to Ukraine. If we got time, we'll give some COVID updates. Let's get the show started. Who did we lose? Where'd Casey go? Jeez,
Nina Jackowofowitz. What'd you call her? Nina
Jackowoff.
Nina Jack
Me off. My name is Jack.
Jack
Me off.
Nina Blue Adam Schiff. Okay. All right. So while we're getting
apparently you can say that, you know.
I'm going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with the details of Roe versus Wade. Obviously, the misinformation. I did a video earlier. There's a leak. There was a leak. Politico decided to do their due diligence on this instead of Hunter Biden's laptop. Super weird. And run with a story incredibly fast, totally disintegrating the trust and communication we have in the Supreme Court, our one sacred place still in this country, well, until today, and released that Roe versus Wade could potentially be overturned based on what we know from what has been written up by the judges. So with that, there's been obvious outrage, liberal outrage, leftist outrage from a lot of people. And the right is also signaling a bunch of different directions. There's a lot of different ways to discuss this. I know we're going to try to get through this topic because I think we all agree on some parts. I might be a dissenting opinion on others. So let's get into it. I know this is obviously a big topic for Soonie and Kevin. I think I think everybody here is super pro-life besides me, which I don't typically talk about all the time. But let's go ahead and get into it. What's your feedback? I'm going to have Kevin go first so he doesn't interrupt everyone else. Kevin, go ahead.
This was a long time coming. We saw all the liberal states preparing for Colorado, California, all the states like they were passing their own abortion laws because they knew this was coming, but did not stop one moment to start playing by the holy Bible of democratic politics. They are everything you're seeing right now. Their response to this, first and foremost, Roe v. Wade was always going to be an issue for them because it was never solid precedent. It was basically the Supreme Court took the Constitution and turned it into a calculus problem, and then poof, the answer, cosine of the tangent was abortion is a right. And when we get down to the nitty gritty of it, Casey versus Planned Parenthood is gone as well. But what I think the best thing about this is if they're willing to go after Roe v. Wade, anti-free speech or like anti-First Amendment stuff is going to be a walk in the park, and then the Second Amendment is going to see a resurgence.
So, I'll come back near the end. The Supreme Court.
Leak, yeah.
So this is a Supreme Court does hear cases brought to them. So there is another case, and I don't have the names off the top of my head, but there was a court case that actually that they're using to then counter this. This wasn't just all of a sudden the Supreme Court justices were sitting in a room one day and be like, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's overturn Roe versus Wade." That's not how it works.
They can also reach out and drag cases into their jurisdiction.
Oh, they can drag, yeah. So, but it is using another case. It's not just talking about Roe versus Wade. I don't know if it was put.
No, the order. So the argument is Dobbs v. Jackson Medical Clinic, and
that's what the
oral arguments were heard back in March. Not March. Sorry, they were heard a while back. Like December, I think they were heard. And the question in place is over a 15-week ban in Mississippi, and the reason why. The question being asked is basically, does the state have the right to limit abortions to this extent? And so they're taking it as the opportunity to go after it full bore. And so what they ended up doing was the Constitution never gives the right to it. It's something that is to be decided by the people. The Constitution does not give the justification for or against. And so they're using that as the excuse to put it on the chopping block. I'll get my piece out right now. The leak is the worst thing that's ever happened to the Supreme Court. Just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since they decided to turn it into an activist wing, but
right.
This undermines a great deal of the Supreme Court's trust within the people, because not the Supreme Court itself, but people within this system. So,
agreed. All right, so I'm gonna kick it over to either Soonie, Mo, or Casey at this point. But what I am going to say is also somebody needs to tell somebody on the left that. This is not making abortions illegal. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how that is lost in translation. And again, this is from somebody that's not in full support of them doing this. Fact is, I've said for a while, they are fully allowed to overturn this because it wasn't a super precedent. It was on very shaky ground. And it was really actually unconstitutional the way that they did it, even though I semi understand it. So this is the separation is all these people protesting in front of all these places right now, I think are under the impression or the disillusionment that the government is about to take away their rights to have an abortion. It just takes it to the state level. Mm-hmm. Who wants to go next on this topic?
I mean, I'll go next because I have very little to say about it. I think it is kind of funny that, number one, people are just thinking that this is just going to make abortions illegal across the board. FYI, if you really must get an abortion because you can't control yourself and keep your legs closed, or in the case that, something terrible happens and, you have a pregnancy, you don't know what to do, there might be a state you can drive to and get your abortion. Who knows? I don't know. The other thing is that this is just a preliminary, it came down from whatever liberal file clerk leaked it. She probably had blue hair. She was probably a they them person, I'm sure. But it's not set in stone just yet. Now, what I thought was interesting is I was looking at a Fox poll on Supreme Court action on Roe v. Wade between July 18th until now. And they've pretty much been pretty standard on letting it stand. I mean, anywhere between 63%, they've been pretty much at 63% the entire time. And at most 31% to overturn it. So it's very interesting that now all of a sudden they wanna change it, which I think is kind of interesting, but whatever. I think it's also very interesting, and I said this earlier before we went live, is how quickly these little libs just quickly get to the location where they need to protest. They've got their pussy hats on, they've got their signs made up, they've got their coat hangers in hand, and they are ready to protest. It's quite comical to me. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see. I'm pro-life, so.
So my thought process again on some of this. So I was watching a lot of CNN and Fox because I wanted to see the difference in how they covered it. Fox was very heavy on the leak because that really is the news. This is something completely unprecedented. When Roe versus, in fact, the closest thing, and thanks to Kelly Matthews for showing this article to me, the actual one of the only other times that a leak happened was in fact the original Roe versus Wade, but it happened the morning of. This is drastically different. This is clearly for intimidation purposes. Now, Fox did a good job of actually covering all sides. They talked about what Roe versus Wade would mean, the fact that there are people upset about, the fact that some states are going to have trigger laws, and they were very wide scoped, whereas CNN, in fact, was just talking about how this is the worst thing that could possibly happen to the country. There was no semblance of bipartisan or news making on it. Fox actually brought up one interesting perspective, and I don't think it's correct, and they didn't either. They just said it's a chance. So they said there is a chance that this could have been done from the conservative side of the judges. And I said, how the fuck is that possible? And they brought up a valid point, because the one key behind this is it shows where the judges' positions were in February. So if they were to leak something now, it could, and maybe it's because one of the conservative judges is changing their mind on it. This would force them to almost lock in their position or look as though they are kowtowing to the people. I don't think that this is the case. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it is. I don't think it's probable, but it is possible. And I think there needs to be investigation, because either way, which 98% of me says it's from the left, 2% says it could have been from the right, this needs to be figured out, because this truly does break the last sacred place of our government. And if we have corruption there, I don't know how to fucking deal with it at this point. That destroys our country.
Is the newest judge Jackson, the one that just got? Is she already is she already in play?
No, Breyer's there.
Oh, Breyer. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
he does it. He's after this session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
she's not there yet.
Anthony, yours actually makes a little more sense, by the way.
There's something to that, and I think it's possible. And I love the fact that it was Fox that brought that up. Fox was calling out a potential conservative side. They were just so much broader in their coverage of this today compared to CNN, pretty much just showing a bunch of wannabe, politicians with the pink hats on and talking about vaginas and all that great stuff. So, and again, this is from somebody that does have some pro-choice ideals, and I'll get into that before we wrap up the subject. Soonie, where are you at on all this? And then we'll go to Casey.
I think abortion should be criminalized.
Used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so far-fetched. Once upon a time, abortion was illegal, and we are literally giving women the space to make irresponsible decisions by having sex with any and everyone, and I can just go erase it. So, do I think it's going to be overturned? No. And the sitting Supreme Court justice, which everyone on the conservative side was so gung-ho about, has openly said she would never overturn Roe v. Wade. But she thinks there should be some rules and restrictions. I personally don't. Go to jail. It is not your birth control.
Soonie, how do you feel?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Wait, but how do you feel? Because this is where I'm always torn on the abortion thing is, and I don't think they have any provisions in this new ruling about this, but how do you feel about the cases in which women are raped, or there's a young girl, that type of situation? Do you think that there's a gray area for that? No. You don't? You just think they should just give it up for adoption?
Yes. If you don't want it, give it up for adoption. Look, people bring up extremes when rapes don't even account for 1%. Not even 1% of the abortions that are done. So the rape, the incest, I think, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but people do this to appeal to your emotions. You can be like, oh, I understand murder. No, murder is murder. Abortion means to terminate, and you can't terminate something that's not alive. Period, point blank. So I'm just across the board criminal.
So would you think the heartbeat bill is okay then? Because then it's before.
I don't like the heartbeat bill. I don't think it goes far enough.
So period. Once you're pregnant, you can't go back on. There is no decision. What about Plan B?
I don't. That's something personal to me. I don't think women should be putting extra hormones in their body to initiate an abortion.
I mean, Plan B is not when there has actually been I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's pretty much birth control.
It's birth control. I think it's eliminating anything to attach to the uterine wall is what it is. So I don't think that anything is actually like official at that point. There's no fetus, so to speak. I think,
There's not,
so.
but look, all I'm saying is stop having irresponsible sex. Stop sleeping with any and everybody. Stop letting guys raw dog and then being like, oops, I'm gonna go get a plan B.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I get where that belief comes from. I do. I understand that humans are flawed, and I think that there's a discussion there for that. I don't think it will ever be made fully illegal the way that you're looking at. I don't think that's possible. Now, and Casey, you're coming up next.
Don't say it's not possible, because that was a law in several states. You would go to jail for doing that.
I don't think it'll be possible on a federal level. I don't think it'll be possible on a federal level, is my point. Casey, I'm going to have you go. I'm going to provide a counterpoint, and I'm going to provide why I think this is very bad timing as well. But first, I want Casey to give his initial thoughts on this.
It's not bad timing. It's perfect timing. It's perfect timing for the people that need to have an agenda. They don't have anything to run on in this year. So what do they have? This leak came out perfectly, right at the right time for them to bring this up and push this through the entire political election of 2022. That is what is happening.
I agree.
Now, when it comes to the decision on Roe v. Wade, I think it should be repealed. I think it should be up to the states. Now, I do believe people that are much smarter than me, there's a fine line for when an abortion is right and wrong. There's some rare cases that can be justified, and they're rare. I'm not saying there's a lot any more than I can probably count on my hand. But right now, overall, I think this is a huge win for freedom of our country. We need to have our states take back control and represent their constituents and make the decisions from what their constituents want them to do. That is what this is doing. This is not federalizing. This is removing a lot of federal ground and all of that we don't need to be paying attention to. We need to remove all those things and go back to a limited government. And that is my stance on this whole thing is let's get the federal government out of our lives and focus on what we can control, which is our local government, and F them.
And I'm gonna agree with you. That's why, first off, I will admit this is a rare occasion in terms of predicting that I was wrong. Like I said during the election, I go, Roe versus Wade is not going to be overturned. I highly doubt that it will be overturned, and it looks like it may. So that would be an area where I'm wrong. And as to Casey's point, see, as I said, it's horrible timing. He said it's perfect timing for those with an agenda. I've also, although somebody that is sensibly thought processed in terms of being pro-choice, and there is, 50 shades of gray and there is a black and a white on this. But I've always said that I actually, and this is an important part. I've said in conversation with people, very rarely do I talk about me being pro-choice on shows, because I know that turns a lot of the specific viewers that we have. But I think that there is extremes in a lot of cases. I think Soonie's side is a little extreme. I don't agree with it. She's totally fair to have that side. And I understand where it comes from. Likewise, I think her side is less extreme than the people that think it's okay to have an abortion at 7, 8, 9 months, or even like Virginia's old governor that said you can have the baby and then look at it and go, what do you think? Which is absolutely ridiculous. I do have a friend. It's disgusting. I have a friend that's very similar to this. It was a life-threatening issue. The child was also going to be born with multiple things, and they chose to abort it. I think there is those cases as well. But here is my issue. Somebody like me who is very outspoken. I said this earlier on a live when I was talking. I'm very, very outspoken. This is still a topic I don't speak of. With the timing and the election coming up, I think this is possibly a tool that the left is using to make sure that if they can convince some of the middle ground Republican voters. I know a lot of people that are absolutely they have shifted to the right, and they're hearing this and they're a little bit scared. because I've opened up about my belief system. They are scared of this being a law, and this is one of their hot topics that they don't talk about because they're afraid to with their Christian family members or whatever it might be. When actually the predominance, I saw an infographic, 73% of abortions happen to those that they have a religious affiliation or a Christian affiliation. So 73% of abortions. These are a lot of very quiet people that don't tell people what they're going through, but they want to have the freedom to do that. Again, Roe versus Wade is not taking away that freedom. It's giving it to the states. But this misinformation could scare a lot of voters. And this, again, the Democrat marketing monster, the marketing campaign, although I believe it is the right thing to do to move it to the states, I think this is as bad of timing as we possibly can have as we're leading into election. And that's my personal opinion on this.
Stop saying bad timing. It's good timing.
For who? For the left, it's good timing.
There you go. There you go.
It's actually like the enemy of politics is time. Like, so they probably would have liked it to come out in June, which would have given them less time before the campaign season.
Think about the official
decision.
It's going to take about 90 days, 60 to 90 days.
And the closer it occurs to the election, the better for them.
Correct. So it is perfect timing.
This is going to come out in June. June to
July. Come out June, July.
I'm going to say this. If this makes people vote Democrat because they're afraid of losing fucking abortions, well, we don't want you over here anyway. Like, seriously, that's the weakest shit ever. I'm not going to vote Republican because I can't get an abortion. Are you serious? There are way more important things going on in the U.S. than you to be worried about offing your baby.
It's not up to you to decide what's, bro. It's not up to you to decide what's most important to other people, and that's why I can't level.
I said it's an opinion, and I'm allowed to say it whether people are offended by it or not. But that's a dumbass reasoning.
But Russo, here's the thing though, and here's the problem with it is it's not just other people. You have a third party here who doesn't have a voice, which is that child, and that's the difference. That is the difference.
Well, that is the belief system. I get that. So then the other question
has nothing to do with Christianity, by the way. I had these views before I was Christian. So no. It's a concept of what life is.
It's
life
also
is life.
It's based on personal experience as well. So the other question then goes, how far does this, because this now becomes a state issue. And this is also why I think it's questionable timing, because for me, this is not my biggest issue. I'm sorry to women that, want to wear the purple, pink hats, whatever. This isn't my biggest issue. My biggest issue right now is health mandates, which to me, this could be a potential setting of precedent. So now you're looking at something that now it goes back to the states. So does that mean there's a chance that they will then say, well, then vaccine mandates become a state rule and state law as well? It's an honest question because exactly. But now there's going to be, if this happens, there will be Supreme Court precedent that they can bring up and they could logically say, which means, so somebody like me or anybody unvaccinated here, we can't go to New York City and get to do the regular things, kind of like during lockdown. So it'll be like a permanent lockdown. At least we were saying, well, at least things will relax.
But so this is not healthcare. How do you compare abortion to healthcare? Like, come on. It's not healthcare. It doesn't set precedent.
It can be utilized in healthcare scenarios.
That's not an abortion.
It's a medical procedure.
Yeah,
that's called a DNC. That's not an abortion. Those are two very completely different things.
What does a DNC
stand for? You don't go to a hospital to get an abortion. You go to an abortion clinic. It is not attached to a hospital. They don't do abortions in hospitals.
Even in an emergency scenario. So
that's not an abortion. That's a DNC.
It's a DNC.
Okay.
So
I can understand that.
It's still a medical procedure outside of the hospital. I don't know how to say if you're doing something that is in a human being's body. To me, it's a medical procedure. I think that be a semantics topic, and if you disagree, that's fine. I don't believe that. But so to me, so you don't think that this could have any bearing on vaccine mandates state to state? You got to go, Kevin.
No.
Yep, I'm out.
Final words.
All right.
I want you.
Yeah.
Hold on. I know you got to go. I want your last words on on the correlation of potential vaccine mandates being correlated to this.
Yeah. So the vaccine The question becomes, what is the difference between mandating a vaccine and preventing an abortion? How is one not controlling a body? Because a vaccine is speaking about something called disease that is always present, is something that is existential to humans. It exists beyond humans. Diseases exist, and you cannot actually prove whom I'm affecting and whom I'm not. Additionally, it's not 100% effective. An abortion, there is literally another life involved. Someone else is there. You have a DNA structure of another human being who is dying, who is no longer being allowed to live. And in that way, because one is about directly innocent lives, whereas the other is about, your own immune system and everything like that. And like you spreading disease is not the same as an abortion whatsoever.
Exactly.
That is a
But it's
false
life.
comparison.
It could be life or death if we don't know still the adverse reactions in the end. We still don't know what that could be. It's a life or death
Abortion's
situation.
not. I think you should not compare abortions
Yeah.
in any sort of healthcare
Well, you can't-
aspect ever.
But it's still an opinion. So you can disagree, but you can't say I should not say something. Just to be clear, it's the same way that I'm disagreeing with you, but you're allowed to have that opinion. I'm allowed to have that opinion. So
I never said you couldn't.
no,
So
you said
somebody
you
asked,
should not. It's verbiage.
Somebody
All
in
right,
the
y'all, I'm
comments
out.
Later.
somebody
guys,
in the
love y'all.
comments,
Okay.
somebody in the comments asked what a DNC is. So a DNC, in regards to a baby being in a uterus, is when if you have a pregnancy and it terminates itself, right? Like you have a miscarriage, they will do a DNC to basically scrape the inside of your uterus and clean it out. But they also use a DNC for other uterine issues that a woman might have. So I've had 2 DNCs and I've had 2 abortions. So I know. I mean, and I'm not proud of that, but I'm going to share it if anybody wants to, know that I know the other side of the coin, So, and it's not a pleasant experience. Neither one is a pleasant experience.
I'm sure.
So if we go to the back end of this, am I hearing a voice or am I just like
It's
imagining?
really weird. It sounds like Kevin.
It's my husband.
Oh.
It literally sounded like Kevin. That was so weird.
It did.
So what was I thinking of? So so here's the thing. We talked about how far we could go for it to be illegal, and I'm not going to go super into a detail or a thing. I just want to ask the question. There are people that make decisions when they're younger in life, no matter what it's from, whether it's from abuse, whether it's from incest, whether it's from whatever, and they end up having abortion. Just like Mo, you said and I don't know what your backstories are. So if
I was
we are going
promiscuous and irresponsible.
okay. Well, if we're going to the extreme, but you made that decision when you were younger, based on Soonie's concept, you would be arrested based on.
And so would I. So would I.
So
that doesn't change anything. I would have been arrested too.
So you believe that your previous self, you'd be okay with having a murder charge or a murder conviction?
Yes, because I will teach people a lesson.
You know what?
You'd still be in jail.
But
you would lose also a lot of rights at that point. If we are going to say murder, that's a felony, right?
Go ahead,
but I also might think twice before I have promiscuous sex, knowing that I could be charged with murder. It'd be a different story. But because, I was like, well, there's this abortion. Actually, I didn't know anything about abortions. I was with a guy. I was in love with him. He, I had sex with him. We were in a relationship. I had sex with him. I got pregnant, thought he was going to be like, all right, let's do this. Let's have this baby. And he said, no, if you have this baby, I don't know you. And I went to his mother, like hoping, hey, maybe she'll help me. And she goes, no, I think you should have an abortion too. So it's a tough situation. And then on top of that, I went back to the same guy months later and rekindled the relationship and got pregnant again.
So he was super fertile. He was super fertile.
I'm super fertile. Like I have been pregnant quite a few times. Have had like I said, I've had miscarriages, and I've also had I don't forget what it's called, a blighted ovum, like when you have a sac but no baby inside, and you literally like your body miscarries that. I've given birth at a very late stage in pregnancy and lost the baby, so I've had a lot of experiences.
See, and here's the thing. I also am very much in agreement with you guys on several levels. It's just like there's some things to me that are so disgusting. It is not birth control. And like there was a video of a girl and people on the left were like, this poor girl, like, and she starts out the video looking at a pregnancy test going, oh, looks like I have to kill another baby. And she's crying and videotaping herself for the purposes of being on there. And then she goes, I have to do it because I can't afford things. This is the way the country is and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, this is why we need affordable health care because these, you know, she can't even afford to pay for herself. Blah, blah. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Like, this is where these extremes get so far out there. And it's like, okay, if it's affording it, and like, first off, you don't self-aggrandize yourself and put yourself on video looking at a test and going, oh, I have to kill another baby. Clearly meaning it's not the first time you've done it. You didn't learn your lesson the first time. And you're then also using it social media to make people sorry for yourself. So again, we go from this concept of where I always am, and we're going to get into the Caitlyn Jenner thing. I've always been consistent. I'm an acceptance over celebration person. In some ways, I have a little bit more of a level of an acceptance in some of the people on this stage, and that's fine. It's just a difference. It's a difference in environment, upbringing, perspective, and maybe morality. And I'm fine saying that. But there is such a level of like where it just says it's birth control or basic healthcare. Again, as I'm using it in the healthcare sense, but it's not basic healthcare. It's not basic birth control. It's something very, very different. I just don't understand why the left feels the need to celebrate that right instead of just accept it as something that's a little bit unfortunately shameful and you hide it. And it's not something to just share with your friends. You shouldn't have a fucking baked cake and say, oh, I had my third abortion today. You don't get a discount punch card. It just doesn't make sense how far the left takes it. And then, of course, the leftist media decides to bastardize what Roe versus Wade really does. But again, as I said, my big topic is I do think this relates to I think it will relate to vaccine mandates. And I don't think that's a red herring. I think that it's just going to alter the way things are done in the court. And I think ultimately this leak is something even bigger than all of this because it's our last remaining place of sanctity. So
yes, 100%. So let me just tack on that and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Well, the big thing that we got to recognize here is where is this information coming from? It's the government, right? The government always they want us to pick the extremes. They never want people to compromise because they can't even compromise. So when it comes to anything, they want us to be all the way over here or all the way over here. That's how they want to divide everyone. We have to start realizing that sometimes there is a compromise in the middle, and there are smarter people than all of us on this panel that may come up with a better solution than what we have for Roe v. Wade or an abortion or DNC, however you want to refer to it. All of those things, we can always come up with a better solution. We just have to start learning to have these conversations and figure it out. That is the way you solve things in the business world, is you bring in all the masterminds in a room and talk about it and figure out a solution. Not blame the left, not blame the right. You have to start coming together and figuring out how we come to a compromise and a solid solution. If you're hard on one side, then that's fine. That's going to be where you're at, but we're never going to move that direction. It's not logical. You have to have some compromise in there. And maybe that is you give people more rights to where they can move freely and do what they want. But it is their right to move freely and do what they want. So we do have to take those things into consideration when we are making laws and changes to how we actually move forward in our country.
So I'm going to address this comment. So we're wanting to go to backroom abortions. Again, I think that this is a misconception. It's not going to that isn't the thing. And interestingly enough, Texas, once they made our laws much stricter, the amount of abortions in Texas dropped by 50%. The fun fact, however, is that the actual amount only dropped by 10% because those people just traveled to a different state to get it done. It was Oklahoma. Now Oklahoma has the strictest laws in the country against it. So ultimately, it'll just cause people to go to different states to get what they need done. There's also ways to get online pills. If they think of it early enough, they can order things online and make things happen. Again, so one of my sides says this is maybe a good thing because what we've all said is, wouldn't it be great to just have states where it's all conservatives in one place and liberals all go to another state. The problem is I do think this is a middle ground issue where there are a lot of people on the right. I won't say conservatives because I know Soonie will disagree with using that term in this sense, but there are people on the right side that are the people that I would like to live around that all disagree with for things being disagree with pro-life, full pro-life agenda. So I think that this is going to cause some issues. And unlike what Soonie said, you don't want them to be on, if it's that big of a deal, they shouldn't be voting with you. I think this is a bigger deal than we realize to a lot of people in the center. And if we lose that vote, again, it's the battle and the war philosophy that if we lose this vote, you can lose the filibuster could change for one. You then also can lose, they can pack the court because we'll start to progressively lose elections because people think on a federal level when they're voting. And if this is an issue, we start losing numbers. If they start shifting, if we don't want their vote in the end, it's going to cause all policy to start shifting over. So that's why I'm a little afraid. And I hope for the best. I hope this won't drastically change the 2022 election or the 2024 election. I hope things still start to turn right. But if it does, I can see how this will have a quiet effect, the silent majority of people that might have a more centrist viewpoint of abortion. I'm just concerned is all I can say, because I do think it could have an effect.
Abortion has been a hot topic since 1992, since the decision in Roe v. Wade was done. And it is a hot topic that comes up in every election.
Yeah.
I like what Dandelion said. Why is the alternative always backroom abortions? How about responsibility, plan B, or accountability? Which is very true. And I was thinking about that. But then you have like the case we were talking about of people that are raped, or there's just horrible situations. Or even, you find out that you're going to have some like terribly like ill child that's going to, be like a vegetable. I don't know. I think that there has to be some discussion around that in particular, and whether that is making sure that, people don't abuse that as an excuse and say, well, I was raped, right? Maybe you need to file a police report. Maybe in order to get this abortion, this medical abortion, you need to file a police report, give us some information on this person. Like there has to be something to make it a little bit more tighter so that people don't abuse that type of system.
It's not true.
It's tough. It's tough. What do you mean, Soonie? It's not true. What do you mean?
That comment you just made, that's not true at all. That's not why we even have Roe v. Wade.
That was one of the discussion points back then. It was. That was.
If we're talking about why.
It was a small topic, but not the major one.
No, the major reason, the major reason we are all talking about this is because a white liberal lied because she cheated on her husband and said a black man raped her. That's the only reason we really have Roe v. Wade. It has nothing to do with backdoor abortions or all these extremes that people go through. It has to do with a liberal lying on a black man. So the fact that we have people advocating for this, when we all know who are the top recipients for it, it's just asimine to me. It
well,
really
and
is. I think people should do their research on why these legislations are even in place.
Well, and it's interesting. Again, I back to the fact that I do think Roe versus Wade should be overturned. And again, timing is not our friend here, in my opinion. But even RGB said that it was a very flawed. She said it was very flawed.
Oh yeah,
she illegally
bashed the crap out of it.
She bashed Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade is not necessarily even about abortion. It's about censorship of healthcare. What's the terminology that they call it? Privacy in healthcare. And that's what it's about. And it's a flawed law, plain and simple. It's a flawed ruling. And this is the time that we're deciding to have it come out. I don't think it's good timing. And that's what I'm going to say. And the other part that Soonie brought up, and I think I said this earlier, and I know you've got the data on this one. If anybody is this super woke leftist that's like, well, this is unfair because, black people, they can't afford to get an abortion if they change the rules, and the minorities and socioeconomic, et cetera. Well, if you look at what has done true damage to the black community is actually abortion. There are statistics, there's findings on this. You've lost your voice, you've lost your voting power. They've put these clinics in inner city areas that predominantly prey on young black females. And unfortunately, when you lose your future, you lose your ability to vote. So again, this is another reason why I do think there are some really big problems that need to be addressed. And this is, to me, not a black and white issue, but Roe versus Wade. It is not something with a super precedent. That was the last thing that CNN actually did. They said the 3 judges that came during Trump's administration, they said they would never overturn it. They said they lied. And then they showed their video clips, and I felt like the news people were going to go like, oh, that didn't show that at all. In fact, what it was showing was them saying, well, I don't believe I'll overturn it, but it does not have Amy Coney Barrett said it does not have super precedent. It's been a contentious issue for 50 years, but I don't believe I'll vote. I don't think that'll be something on the top of my mind. There was nothing about her saying she'll never overturn it. And each of the male judges said the exact same thing. They're like, if it came across my desk, I don't know how I'll handle it, but I don't foresee this being an issue. None of them said blatantly, I would not. I think that this is a super precedent. There's no way to get away from this. All of them said this is a contentious issue, which makes it fair that they're ruling on it. And again, CNN gaslit all of their woke, ignorant viewers to think that they all lied, which is incorrect. Anyways,
all in all, we agree that federal government should not be making this decision. It comes down to local officials, right?
Yes.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah. I think it's going to have an effect in the vote. So when people start to look at it, that's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm just saying all in all, we all agree there.
And I think that will lean, it will lean people left in terms of voting as a percentage. I just think it will. All right. So Soonie, go ahead and pull up the troll clip, you sandbagging son of a bitch.
Oh, jeez. Russo would stop being a troll on the internet.
So if for everybody that saw that Soonie went a little hard on me, she had the decency of asking permission to troll me. And I said, have at it, because I know we disagree on this. So
I haven't seen this yet.
You haven't seen it yet, Mo?
No.
You didn't see this in the chat? Oh, man.
No.
All right, go for it.
Give my opinion on why it's important to have people like Caitlyn Jenner in the conservative political movement. Here we go. A lot of the conservatives out there that are more right, further right, are going to say you can't have people like this. There's no such thing as a gay or transgender conservative. But this is why I think people like this are important. She's speaking out against the craziness and the lunacy and the over-celebration instead of acceptance of transgenderism. Jenner just spoke out and said that Leah Thomas is the worst thing that's happened to the transgender movement.
We're in a time and age where we can change definitions to mean what we want them to mean for political gain, but I felt the need to show the actual definition of conservative, and it's adverse to change. Let's also talk about that over-celebration that you mentioned in this video. Well, if he was so concerned about the over-celebration, then why did he accept being called Woman of the Year by Vanity Fair, the ESPYs, Time, and many others? And lastly, let's highlight the fact that this man is indeed a flip-flopper. 1 minute he's for it, the next he's against it. Check out this article if you don't believe me.
You both are very wrong in all of it. It is not a he, it's not a she, it's an it.
Right.
So I always said once Jenner got it chopped off, I'd call him a she. But okay, so since you got the rebuttal, I'm gonna go first, and then Soonie, you can come back at me. So first off, to me, there's a difference between a flip-flopper and somebody that evolves in thought. I also don't love that the definition that you pulled up for conservative was somebody that is stuck in their ways, because I don't think anybody stuck in their ways actually goes that much further in terms of thought. Like, thought is meant to evolve. But now Caitlyn Jenner, I agree with some things with Jenner, and I disagree with others. So the thing that I thought was important is because fact is, I'm not going to say fact is. In my opinion, somebody like Caitlyn Jenner that moves to the side of this is lunacy in terms of the Leah Thomas, their voice can be heard better than me. They're going to look at me and they're going to be like, you are a white supremacist bigot. I don't believe you. I think you're a piece of shit. So when somebody like that speaks out against the lunacy, and again, she talked about transgenders in sports about a year ago. I get that. And I also know that she accepted the Woman of the Year award while she still had it, still had a penis. That to me was ridiculous. That was also 7 years ago. Maybe things have changed. She's gone more on the conservative side. Who knows? All I know is I think it's important for people that are in that community to speak out to what is extreme. Again, I have a much higher level of acceptance for people like that. potentially than some of the other people on the panel and some of our thought processes, which again, we're allowed to be different. But I think in order to actually create change in terms of the ultra left fucking crazies is to have somebody like a Caitlyn Jenner speaking out against it. And that's why I made that video. But again, I found it funny, especially the context.
Bro, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
Damn.
Damn. I didn't know you were so aggressive with Russo. Damn.
Yeah, it looked like
I'm
you
talking to
smacked
my
me.
husband.
It looked
I'm
like you
talking to my
smacked
husband.
me.
I'm just
No,
giving
look.
you shit.
Here's the thing, right? And this is gonna come off like me being a jerk, but I'm 100% truthful. This is what happens when people who are liberal try to call themselves conservative. You don't like the way we do things. So instead of saying, well, I don't really agree with that, and trying to dominate and infiltrate what was already here before you got here, call yourself something else. That's like me going to the liberal side and being like, well, I don't like the way you guys do things, and you should probably do this, this, and this, and you need to accept this, that, and the third, because we need votes. That's not what conservatism is about. And the definition is what it is. It's actually in Merriam-Webster's original dictionary before things were on the internet and they can change definitions of it. It means you're adverse to change. So I think people need to stop. Right.
No, you're not.
People need to stop bullying and making conservatives feel like crap because we don't want to morph or change into what society thinks we should morph and change into. That's my only pushback. So when you say it's important to the conservative movement, no, it's not, because that thing is not a conservative.
Would you have been happier if I would have said? Would you have been happier if I would have said it's important to the Republican movement?
Sure, because the Republicans are disgusting. So I might agree with you there.
What about the modern day Republican movement?
Republicans are very different than conservatives.
Oh my gosh.
There are two different things. There's no
what's that?
Calling yourself conservative is just popular because people have seen conservative influencers come up and they're like, oh, I want to be conservative. I'm conservative here. Well, if you're conservative, then be conservative. Stop trying to make us change and conform to your definition of conservative.
Oh, so
that's what we preach all the time.
So you're using conservative as the word conservative, not as conservatism. So we've had this discussion before. Okay, got it. So there is a pretty drastic difference between conservative and conservatism. I was wondering where you got that definition, because I was like, what do you mean just not opposed to change? I get, okay, so that is the term conservative. That is not, I don't think that's tied necessarily to politics. And again, this I think does start to get into a semantics level argument, but conservatism, which is the political term, is a philosophy that is essentially characterized with a thought process of liberty, small government, low taxes. That's political conservatism. So I guess we're just having a disagreement in terms of what definition to use. You're using the core definition of the word conservative. I'm using the core definition of political conservative.
Sure, but
okay.
The difference is you may be using those distinct differences, but society is attacking people like me for not wanting to be inclusive of people like it. And you can't force anyone to change anything about themselves for political gain. That's why I said I love when people like to take words and change them for political gain. Yeah. He flip-flopped in a matter of a year and a half. He went for it, against it, for it. That's called flip-flopping.
But he went multiple times back and forth in 1 year?
Yes, he did. When you say, so I'm going to put a commission into play, right? And this is why when he was running for governor of California, this is why he's a flip-flopper. He wanted to put a commission together to decide who is actually a transgender
I read that article.
Female, so they can participate in sports. Okay. Are you against it or for it, bitch? Because I'm sick of you flip-flopping.
Oh, well, now it's a bitch.
Yeah, you call men bitches. Men that don't have balls are bitches. Yeah.
So then you're posing the point. And so that was Jenner saying that for transgender athletics, and then maybe, and again, I get there's a very fine line between flip-flopping and changing of opinion. So maybe what Jenner saw through all that was like, this is fucking stupid. And now we've gotten to a point where you see somebody like Aaliyah Thomas and Jenner goes, this is really fucking stupid, and makes a point to say that, this is just my beliefs based on how ridiculous it's gotten. Could that be possible?
So it could, but
no, that's a politician.
That's and what you're doing is you're interjecting your own assumption as to what he's doing instead of dealing with what he's actually doing. What he's actually done is flip-flop. So you might take it as, oh, well, he came to some sort of no, he didn't. And I can say, no, he didn't, based off of what he has actively shown me. This is not me interjecting my opinion on what he's doing.
Yours is still literally showed. The facts show that he switched. Facts shows that he switched opinion. Flip flop means that there's a nefarious, political cause.
I think that's interjection again. Flip flop means you're going back and forth. There's no nefarious anything in there.
It means he changed his stance. Is the only thing that is fact. He changed his stance from one to another. That's the fact. The opinion is, was it a flip flop or was it a change of opinion? Those are the two. Those are two schools of thought. I think it could have been a change of opinion. I think it could have been a flip flop. You are dead set that you think it was a flip flop, but it's still an opinion.
So if you support it and then you go and do the action.
Sense.
So if you don't support it and you go and do the action to switch, and then you come out and say you're against it, even though you switched, and now you come out and say you support it, is that not flip-flopping?
That's flip-flopping.
Well, no, he's not. But no, he's not switching. He's not competing in athletics. Him or herself, whatever you want to say. He's not competing in athletics. He's not competing in women's athletics. So he didn't actually come out and do it.
What does it have to do with him changing his stance on what he believes?
I'm sorry. That's what I took from Casey. What Casey said. It was a little confusing. Say it again.
So he didn't support it when he was an Olympic runner.
Okay.
And then he supported it by changing his gender.
Yes, he said this on the ESPYs.
Yes, it came out and changed his gender, and then was for it with Leah.
And when was he for it with Leah?
When he openly came out on the ESPYs and said transgender athletes need a space in sports. Yes. He openly said that multiple times.
Okay. But okay, so that's
he did it on a podcast as well.
I'm fine. I'll be clear. I take a stance. If you want to be a transgender and in sports, you can have your own fucking league. I don't
need to have their own freaking league.
You do whatever the fuck you want. So maybe that's what that to me does not sound like. First off, that was in 2015. That was right when Caitlyn was doing this big song and dance. It was fucking ridiculous. And then we get to a place now that she was continuing talking about a commission. So there's 6 years of buildup. And then now maybe the fruit of her labor, she is seeing how ridiculous it is. And she's going back and changing it.
Within a year? It ain't even been a year yet.
People
can change his stance.
People can see something so shocking, like how ridiculous Leah Thomas is, and change in a matter of 24 hours and say, you know what? I regret my people.
Is that
can change their mind in a
night. Russo? Come
Russo, on. I understand what you're saying. Yes, I agree with you. But let's put this in logical sense with this individual. They are not logical thinking human beings to where they can actually think through that quickly and make a determination. That you got to be able to look at the whole picture here.
Hey, look, this
I see the definition.
Flip-flopping. Something politicians or political groups do. They agree with something and then later disagree with it. And then later agree with it again an unspecified amount of times. He's flip-flopping.
So technically he's only changed his opinion once.
Twice.
He changed it 3 times.
Explain
3 times.
2015. He did it twice in 2021. He got caught by TMZ. Then he went back again on a podcast where he said, you have to be fair. I think they should be able to participate. Then recently, he literally just did it again. Well, nope. They're not born they're biological boys. They shouldn't be competing. I think it's weird. But I want to put together a commission to decide who's a male and who's female, bro.
So where's the change?
Come on, bro.
So ultimately, you're saying 2015 he was for it. 2021, Caitlyn,
he did both.
Jenner was for it. He was both. So when was he against it in 2021?
If he did both,
no,
we just told you he did both. When he did the podcast,
he's asking which what was the sequence of events, and I'm trying to remember
because he was for it, then he was against it.
When was he against it? I've asked. I feel like I'm talking to somebody on the
ESPYs.
So when was he against
it?
When did
hold up. I'm going to tee off on you if you say that shit again.
Answer my question.
I'm not being illogical. I did. It's not my fault that you're not grasping what I'm saying. ESPYs was when 2015.
Supportive.
Okay.
Supportive it.
So let me answer the question. He was against it once again in 2021 when he went on Sean Hannity, May 5th. Look it up.
Okay, I've literally been asking you the same thing.
I've said it multiple times. Then he went against it again in a podcast. Then TMZ caught him going outside to his car where he said, I don't think they should be participating. Then once again, he went back on Hannity not too long ago and says, I don't understand why they keep asking me this question. Well, maybe because you fucking flip-flop and we can't get a concrete answer out of you because 1 minute you're for it and the next you're against it. Pick a struggle, bruh.
Well, let's look at it this way.
I'm struggling with the timeline, but okay.
Well, I remember the Hannity because I want to say we actually reviewed this like that night on Truth. I remember us pulling it up.
We did a show on that.
Yeah, I'm remembering the video. But the big thing is the point out here is, do you trust everybody that's running and people that actually are this way? Should you trust them? And this is a person that is promoted and only got his fame because of Olympic running in the 80s, I believe it was. Don't hold me to that, but I think it was in the 80s. And a stepdaughter's sex tape. That's how he's famous. And so he needs to continue his fame, the same with the Kardashians. Well, and I shouldn't have said he. God
damn it.
Damn it.
You're
It's an it. But that's where the fame is coming from, and they keep pushing the same thing. If you look at these people, they keep pushing. They want to be in the circle. They want to be getting that attention. They want to be out there and getting that money. That's all they're doing. Everything is they want that money. And so we have to start looking at it in those logical scenarios. And this person, is not someone that anybody should be electing or following or supporting, because they are not a real person that you should actually have some morals to be able to support. That is where it's coming from.
And I get what you're saying, because now we're getting into an issue that doesn't actually mean anything towards the full whole. Because I do want to touch on one other thing that we started talking about on our call regarding whether or not we call the definition of a woman. I know it's we're gonna all have fun with this one, but I'm looking at Caitlyn Jenner's comments. I'm looking across the board. In 2015, she was talking about opening up the world to transgenders in general. I'm not seeing anything about transgender sports from the ESPYs, and then I'm seeing that she had the commission. I'm not really finding the details on what this commission would look like. And then the rest of it is all her being against transgender sports. So by definition of your definition of flip-flopping,
bro, let me help you out.
So
let me help you out.
The commission.
No, you're trying to be right, and that's cool because I like being right too.
Mo, go ahead and then go back to Soonie.
I was looking at the commission. So the commission was to decide which players are truly trans enough to play on the teams that match their gender identity. So I guess that means Have they had enough hormones to like downgrade their abilities that they once had as a man? Is what I'm assuming.
So it's an interesting point, because right now, currently, the way that the Olympic Committee views it, you could have twice the actual testosterone level of a female if you are transitioning and still qualify, which to me is actually fucking mind-boggling.
It's disgusting.
So, I mean, that technically is not a pro or anti-trans statement. It's to actually, because again, in California, the laws were the way they fucking were, unfortunately. So again, I am not seeing. I think every trans person, if they're in athletics, should have the opportunity to compete and improve themselves. She said during an interview, I think sport's such a great way to learn about yourself. Hopefully in the future what they can do for it. And when was that? Was that an ESPYs comment, or when was that? And again, that's not saying they should compete against the other gender. That is saying I think trans. What's the matter with trans people competing in sports? If they're a guy that identifies as a woman, compete with guys, or have your own fucking division.
This is a concerning part of the statement. So it went on to say, what I would do as governor is I would put together a commission, and trans women who are truly trans, who at a very young age started proper medical treatment, basically starting their transition as a child, which is crazy.
Yep.
Means that they basically grew up of girls. So of course they would
right
be able
here
to compete in girls sports. That is a little scary.
And that was in 2021. That was when Caitlyn was running.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
they just need their own league, period. End of story.
God,
Go play your own sports.
I have to be honest. I don't see this as a flip-flop. I see this as a fucked up mental thought process. But again, it's not like
we're talking about Jenner here.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, Jenner didn't say Jenner was not in support of chemical castration. There's things out of Jenner's control, what parents have done in the state of California since way too long. I don't see it as this egregious shift or flip-flop. I just don't think it is. Caitlyn Jenner let's talk about trans athletes being able to do something in 2015, which I honestly don't see that in the comments from the ESPYs. It's more of a trans inclusiveness, which again, I agree. I think we've pushed it way too fucking far. But now we're talking about the fact that it's just, I just don't see the flip-flop. I really don't. I do not see the flip-flop.
Let's put aside the flip-flop definition. Going back to what you said, which is it's a good spokesperson for conservatives on this issue. Now that I'm reading that, I don't think so. That's concerning to me. I don't care if you flip-flop or not. That statement right there basically saying that you're for young children transitioning from whatever gender they were originally born to whatever they want to be is a concerning thought process for me.
I will completely agree with that statement. I'm not going to disagree with that. So I'm stuck up on the verbiage of flip-flop. He didn't flip-flop or whatever.
Yeah.
Flip-flop. And by the way, Cash would not be pissed at this conversation because Cash has been spending time in the joint with a transgender that he considers one of the best people he knows in there. That was a military guy that's transitioned to being a woman. Again, fucked up head issues. Understand it. Totally. But at the end of the day, he's become very inclusive to this side of the conversation. I just want to let you guys know that. So, and we've had this discussion recently, in fact, and again, trust me, he also feels the same way all four of us do, that there's no fucking way a dude should compete in women's sports. And I think that's another thing, maybe from a political standpoint, maybe that was Jenner's point. Maybe Jenner is using this as a political tool because he knows Jenner knows that there is nothing politically to gain from allowing most people on the left agree that this is ignorant and stupid as well. So I think it could be a political ploy. That's all. All right. So to go into the conversation. So do we call Jenner a woman or a male? And again, I know we can do it. You could do whatever. To me, and I've been consistent because I know some people said I wasn't consistent in what I said about Jenner. From the beginning, I've always said if somebody goes through the process, I'm not going to say that they're a perfectly healthy mental person. I'm not going to say that. But if somebody goes through the process of getting the twig and berries chopped off and they're going through full hormone therapy and doing whatever the fuck they are, I will call them. I will call them a woman. I've just always said that.
I will call you whatever you want me to call you if you've gone through the process, but you're not a woman.
Agreed. I will. That is a perfect way to say it. You are not a woman, but if you've done the work in that sense, and I think that was the trigger word for Soonie yesterday. He said, "Do the work." If you've done the work of going through the whole process, and is that important to you, I will call you a woman. I will respect your mental illness and whatever you're dealing with. I will respect that, and I will say I will call you a woman. If you've got a dick and a beard and you're wearing a dress, you're a he.
I mean, I think we also assume that everybody's going to tell us what their backstory is. Somebody we might meet as a woman and not know that they used to be a man because they're just that well transitioned, and maybe they have gone through the hormones, and you're just not going to know.
Blair White is one of them.
Right. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I here's the thing, and I know this is going to piss Soonie off. And where did Soonie go?
Soonie's here.
She might be coming back.
Well, it's not going to piss her off because me and Soonie have these conversations all the time. I just cared that you're a good person. Like, my first thought when I meet somebody is not what political party you side with, or how you vote on issues. Like, that's just not the first conversation that I have with people. But like, if I sense something like that you do with your life, or the way you carry yourself is kind of weird, I'm going to base you judge on that. I'm going to base you on that. I'm going to judge you on that first. And that's just it for me. Now, if I was friends, Soonie's going to hate that I use this as a example, but like, if I was friends with Soonie and years down the line, she's like, "Hey, I'm going to confide in you. I used to be a man." I would still love Soonie. She's like, "Don't put me in this example." I would still love Soonie and respect Soonie the same way I do now because I know her as a person. You know what I mean? Now, I asked this question of Soonie one day. Soonie, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but I was like, "Hey, Soonie, what if like one day I told you that like I was actually a lesbian?" And she was like, she said, "Bro, like it'd be done. Like we'd be over." And I was like, "Wow, like really?" She was real straight up with me about it.
I mean, again, everybody's free to have. I mean, that's the thing. I've got no problem with that. I disagree, but like, if that's up to you.
All right, this is what I'm gonna say. While you are all being accepting, you all also contradict yourselves by condemning the thought pattern.
I know.
If Leah Thomas says he's a woman by your both of your definitions, they want me to, I'm going to respect what they want to be called. That's what both of you said.
That is not what I said.
Well,
I said, you never said you were going to respect what they want to be called.
He said if they go through the full transition of everything.
I said I would not call you, you're not a woman, but if you want me to call you Leah Thomas and you used to be, Joe Smith, and you want me to call you Leah Thomas because you went and got a surgery, I'll call you whatever you want. You're not a woman. You're not a woman. There is no surgery in the world that can make you a woman.
If it's not a woman, why in the world are you calling it a woman? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not calling it a woman.
I'm saying by the name.
I will refer to them as
Russo will.
She.
Oh
no, I've said that Caitlyn Jenner is.
Right. What does she mean?
To Caitlyn as Caitlyn.
What does she mean?
Yes. Well, yeah, you're getting into the term. Of course, I'm respecting their wishes in terms of what to be called because that they have gone through the full mental illness, mental health check to get a full sex change and do everything that it takes. And again, I disagree with it, but at the end of the day, it's no sweat off my back to say she. It just
it's not. It's what it does is it gets the rest of the public okay and comfortable doing it. How do we preach against it, but then do it in our lives? I like she is encompassing of a female. It's a woman. That is how you explain when you're talking about a woman. You say she or her, and because this person wants to be called a she, you're not a woman.
I get it.
It is. I feel like I'm going to become a feminist and start slapping people in the face for calling these people women. What are you talking about?
Speaking of that,
just bleed every month. You don't have breast milk forming in your boobs to the point where they're so engorged and you can't sleep at night. You don't carry a kid. You don't go through anything women
Agreed.
go through. So
Agreed.
You can't
it's
get an abortion.
disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
I'm
Women
gonna
need to
say,
stand up. It's disrespectful, bro.
I do find it very funny that people 3 weeks ago that were talking about the ones that are most on the front lines, by the way, in front of the Supreme Court, were the ones a few weeks ago that said you shouldn't have to define a woman. Yet they're talking about women's reproductive rights. I find that very ironic.
Correct.
The irony is, Soonie, I get your point, and I think for me it's a very hairy issue because I do like to respect the individual, including when they have mental illness. Again, if they want to go in a bathroom with my child, I say absolutely not. I think there's a lot of issues with it, but at the end of the day, it's hard. It's a very hard subject, but I've been consistent. And if there's a reason for me to change my mind, I just haven't found it yet. And for this point, I will still call them a she if they've done the surgery. You heard me call Leah Thomas a dude multiple times because he still has a penis. He hasn't done it. He still fucks women, for God's sakes. Like he still to me, it's a very different situation than Caitlyn. I was very opposed to Caitlyn Jenner winning Woman of the Year when Caitlyn still had a dick.
But you referring to her as she. So why are you mad that she won Woman of the Year?
Well, at the time, she had.
This doesn't make any sense. Even if he won it with a fake vagina, that's a dude.
I agree. No, honestly, that's actually a great point. I don't think there is any transitioned person that should ever win a Woman of the Year. I think that's bullshit, and it's ridiculous to the actual womankind. I think that's stupid across the board. I just don't. I would change my terminology.
If someone says, "Look, my pronouns are T-Rex," rare, are you going to refer to them as T-Rex?
I think pronouns are fucking stupid.
Why?
Because there's no surgery that can turn them into a T-Rex, for fuck's sake.
And there's no surgery that can turn them into a woman, Russo.
Actually,
there's no surgery that will ever turn them into a woman. Man, I don't care if you take estrogen or have boobs. You are not a woman.
Let's call it this way: you change an Audi to an innie.
Bruh.
So here's the deal: you ask me right now, is Caitlyn Jenner a woman? I say no. I say no, she's not. I know it sounds fucking ridiculous, but that's just the way that I say it. I literally knew she was gonna do that. I knew she was gonna do
that. Too many topics back to back for Soonie that are triggering her. Like she.
Well, I completely get where Soonie's coming from. I feel the same way. Like I hate the fact when I say he or she, referring to the thing. Like I just don't. Like
it's a fucking it. That's what
it isn't.
It, bro. It ain't no woman. Ain't your pronouns ain't she. You don't get to pick adjectives and apply it to yourself. Well, this is my pronoun. No, it's not. See, I'm a bitch. Right. I'm gonna call you what you are. You're a man.
I love you.
I'm sorry.
I love you.
No,
you are so
women need to grow. Look, you need to grow an extra set of uteruses.
Yeah,
seriously,
that's a good one. Yeah,
bro.
Note that timing.
Yeah, we need to cut that.
We're gonna cut Soonie here. Look what's gonna happen.
You better not ever say she around me, Russo, because I will walk the fuck away.
You want me to call you he?
For the rest of the night. No.
If
I see you refer to, look, if we're ever in the space where Blair White is, okay, and you say she, I'm gonna go have several drinks, and you talk to me the next day.
Oh Jesus!
Doesn't Blair White still has a penis?
Correct.
Yeah, but you know what? People on this side refer to it as a she.
Yep.
It's a problem.
And the thing is,
funny
I
don't think it harms it about them too.
I don't think I see the thing is these are topics that I don't think harms anybody either way. Like I get where you're coming from, and I also get where they're coming from.
It harms.
So you don't think it messes with your mental psyche?
They're adults.
To refer
I think
to
that's
someone
the difference.
as they are.
No, they get in front of people, kids.
No, it harms our kids because then we got to explain this shit to them, bro. And that's
my kids say. Do you want to know what their pronouns are for my kids? You ready? That person's weird. You're weird. Why you dress like a man? You're a woman. Mommy, that's weird. You know what they do? They point and stare and say, that's weird. We need to bring that back.
My littlest would probably do that. He doesn't have a filter. It would just come out of his mouth. You're weird.
You know what's really weird is if you call somebody a tranny, it's considered a derogatory term when that's actually the most accurate thing.
Kind of like a midget.
I know it's derogatory now.
Why is that? That's weird.
I don't know. I never knew it was a derogatory term. I'm gonna say it now. You should have never told me that.
Yeah, like if you go up and like you'd be like, "Oh, Caitlyn Jenner, that fucking tranny." Like, yeah, it's considered kind of like a slurish.
Wow.
Or, fun fact.
That's
what did that
hilarious.
remind me of? God, that reminded me of some stupid not right politics. Anyways, moving on.
Hey,
Let's talk.
Crystal Moon, I'm sorry. Give your kid a high five from me.
Who's wearing makeup? I'm not wearing makeup.
No, she's saying.
I know. I'm joking. I'm
her
kidding.
youngest
It was a
And
joke.
Russo, no, you're not wearing makeup. You don't look that good.
Look at that shit. Oh God, I just realized. I hope they weren't talking about Mo. No, Mo's actually a woman, guys. Just because she doesn't have a uterus, that was mean. That was incredibly mean, Crystal. Mo is that is 100%.
That was a good joke.
I am all woman certified.
You finally had it funny.
Finally had it funny.
That was better than the Chinese accent. Yo, that was funny.
What if I combine the two? Don't be fooled. This is woman. Okay. All right.
That was so funny.
All right, so let's go. Let's keep our foot on the pedal before we get into our final two topics. Disinformation board. Let's talk about Nina Jackofowicz.
Did you guys see her TikTok video where she was singing about all the things she's going to implement?
Everything that was
cringy.
Inaccurate about. Yeah.
Did you see that?
Play it. The one where she's like.
Will we get flagged though if we do that?
Why not? Why would we?
Are you playing it on Fox?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
don't think so.
Okay. Well, it's a remix. I don't have the original video.
What's the difference? We keep losing viewers each week because of the algorithm.
So what's the difference?
It's like the movie Major League. Like all we got is one goddamn hit. You can't say goddamn on the air. Don't worry, nobody's fucking listening anyway.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Okay, here it is.
Information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So information's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. But Rudy Giuliani shared that intel from Ukraine.
Turned out to be true.
Influencers say COVID can cause pain. They're laundering disinfo, and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh!
This is the part of the show.
I'm like, what am I watching?
Lord help us. Lord help us.
Terrible.
It's actually not true, Grant. If you notice what happened with the Twitter algorithm changing, it actually means you're suppressing of the followers. But hey, you do you. I love to see Grant back. I love.
You got a definition right. High five, Russo. Where are you at?
We spend too much time on Grant.
Well, nobody else does. Definitely not a female. So speaking of things I can't stand, her voice, I think that was a very accurate comment. So I couldn't stop singing this song though. Kelly was like, "Why do you keep singing show tunes?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it." But here's the thing. I don't care if somebody's into musical theater and is, a little bit weird and 33 and is put in charge of something that's bigger. I get it. But everything that she talks about is false because she is so politically partisan and she's being put in charge of the Disinformation board, which now they've backtracked and said, this is only disinformation boards from other countries, to be clear. What kind of risk is that posing? So essentially what that's targeting is Russian disinformation and ignoring the fact that really it's going to be using the Department of Defense. Was it the DOD? It's the DOD, right?
Yes, too.
Yeah,
they're gonna combine all this.
I'm sorry, not DOD, Homeland Security. So they're going to be utilizing anybody with misinformation. This is as close to Orwellian or Hitlerian, which I just came up with that term. This is as close as it gets. And yeah, George, there it is. There it is. It's exactly right there.
It's an amazing book. If you don't want to read the book, watch.
Then why do you watch?
This was all started with the Patriot Act, and we were accepting of it.
Right.
9/11.
All of them.
Absolutely. Hey,
So
you know
have
what a
we-
good source for that information is? If you guys like reading, read Snowden's book. It's an
Yes.
amazing book.
Which one?
Oh, it is so good. I've read it.
Permanent record?
Let
This
me
one?
see. Yeah, that one. That one is
Yeah.
that is a
Yep.
good book, man.
I have it in digital and physical copy, so I always have it.
Damn.
Good book.
So we had the chance to, because somebody did say that this was something that was started during the Trump administration. I couldn't find that.
I couldn't either.
So I don't know where that little lie came from. But
I seen what you were talking about, but it was not even remotely the same thing. It was them trying to call him
Like align
when
it.
he was saying fake news. That was the Ministry of Truth. They were trying to pinpoint that, but
Oh,
he didn't come
gotcha.
up with anything himself. No, you guys should read this too. I've listened to this like 5 times now. It's an awesome book. Yeah.
Let's see. I want to find something. Speaking of misinformation,
I'm just showing off my books to Grant because I think he thinks that we're all idiots here. Well, I can't speak for the other 3.
He's on the left, so he probably assumes black people can't read. So
I knew that was coming.
He probably could. He's like, let me read it to you, ma'am. I'll show you how to get the big words. Because you need to pull. It's so hard for you to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Let me. Fucking dick.
In front of my books, I have my little mini AR-15. By the way, I love it.
Is this Nina Jakopowicz? Is she like a dude? I'm gonna send. Soonie, I'm sending
She
you.
is.
I'm sending you a picture. I'm sending you a picture in WhatsApp. Just put it up really quick so we
Is
can
she
all
a
make
tranny?
the jawline.
I don't know.
She's from Jupiter. Let's just say that.
Where are you
she is
sending it?
not from this planet.
We're not on a WhatsApp together. Are you talking about Slack? Where are you sending it?
No,
you're not cool enough to be in this club,
I sent it to
Russo.
Soonie.
Oh, sorry.
This is where me and Soonie chit chat.
That's a dude.
Looks like a dude.
It's 2022. We have to do this now. We have to examine.
True. No, that's
True.
everything.
Are you gonna put it up?
Let me share.
So we can have a vote.
That's a dude.
Let me see. No, I just think it's a pointy chinned.
He said it's.
I don't know.
Hey, listen. While we are schooling Russo on the fact that Bruce Jenner is indeed not a woman, please make sure you go buy this shirt called "Being a Woman Is Not a Feeling." 20% off if you use the Mata code.
Great plug. Well done.
All right, hold on.
Behavior of your grown children.
Well done.
All right, hold on a sec. This is just the typical crap.
If I have to hear one more thing about Hunter Biden, I'm going to scream. Think about your own children. Are they perfect? Will they or have they done questionable things in their lives? Imagine if your job or your entire career was dependent on the behavior of your grown children. That being said, Hunter Biden
is so
is
much
a private
misinformation.
citizen. Did Hunter Biden use nepotism to attain certain things in his life? Probably.
That's not what we're contesting.
Well connected.
She's
That's
blonde.
pretty much par for the course for anyone in a certain tax bracket. This isn't groundbreaking stuff. But Hunter
They
Biden
didn't have
never
ties
worked
to
for
our
the US
president.
government. There is absolutely no proof that he traded his father's connections to benefit himself.
Actually,
he
there
was
is.
never
Yes,
bailed
there
out or
is.
not held accountable for his actions because of some call
Yes,
his
he
father made.
was.
Millions of
Yes,
dollars.
the man has
Also.
his own problems. A lot of Americans do. The question is, did
up.
his father inappropriately help him? And the
Hey.
answer,
Yes.
after the question
Hey.
is asked time and time again, is no.
Yes.
So you can
Yes.
keep trying to
No,
make
no,
Hunter
no, it's
happen,
yes.
but if you're so obsessed with the
It's
grown
yes.
children of presidents, you can question the ones who did. If I have to hear one more thing about
Can I
Hunter,
give my famous tagline? And this is why we need to repeal the 19.
Who is this woman?
She's
It's just
fucking a nut
something.
job.
It's something they
What-
shared on That's Not
Can
Right
you pull
Pod.
her
How is that
hashtags
not-
up really quick, Russo? I want to
Damn
read
it.
her hashtags so you guys.
Let me just. I'll
know.
tell you what it is. All right, I have it
Okay,
right here.
what
Hold
are
on.
her hashtags?
Well, first off, this wasn't the hashtag. This wasn't her. I mean, she did it. I don't know where they pulled it from, but this was it was from That's Not Right Politics, which again, this is blatant disinformation that they continue to allow. Like if the disinformation board was nonpartisan, this would be like, oh, well, technically there was some really, really obvious evidence. But anyways, Canvas. It said, vote out the GOP this November. Canvas, donate, volunteer. Click link in bio to register to vote this November. Hashtag midterms. Hashtag blue wave. Hashtag women's rights. Hashtag that's not right politics. Follow that's not right PO on Twitter. So,
what was it? Women empowerment. There was no women empowerment there. I swear to God, I read that. That's why I said repeal the 19th.
no,
I just can't. It doesn't matter. But
she just looks like she looks like Ruby the Riveter or whatever. That's probably where you got that from. Like she's
blonde
got
and she can't help it. She can't help it.
Oh, somebody said, but the laptop in the comments.
Yeah. Where was that?
There's nothing wrong with it. He
in the comments.
He didn't steal money. He's not snorting crack out of kids' booties. Like what? It's on the laptop. Shut up.
It didn't affect national security. Like the fact that the left can gaslight, and I think what she was gonna say at the end of that, which I would love to know the end, where she's gonna be like, your own actual president's like hunted wild game. Like, what are you gonna say? How can you continue to bring up Trump's kids for fuck's sake? Like
hunted wild game. Oh, something that we've done for hundreds of years to be able to feed our families. Like,
or the alleged thought that he did cocaine, which again, there's no evidence of it. Is there a chance? Yes, he's a friggin' rich kid. Who gives a bigger? This guy is doing crack off a 13-year-old allegedly. I mean, let's be very clear how different this is. And this is a fucking dude that is legitimately making tens of millions of dollars and has an actual bank account with his father, that his father got to reap the money that he was making in a country that he didn't deserve to be making. How?
Houseway.
Politicians. That's how. Politicians.
Can I just say that Jay's an idiot? Sorry.
Jay who?
Why are you saying that? Are you saying that just because of what I put in our team chat or what?
Yeah, he's a dumbass, bro.
Jay who? I missed
Kennedy.
it. What do you
Look
think,
at our
Kennedy?
team chat in Facebook.
He's a dummy. I got you, Russo. Look at this.
Death's due to complications.
This guy's a dummy, man. What the?
So wait, hold on. So hold on, because again, I'm always up for a conversation. So you're saying that when was Roe versus Wade? 73. So
yes.
Is this out of 100,000 or is this the total number? Because if we're talking about a worst case situation,
wait,
of
read the top, Russo. What does it say? Deaths due to complications from what? Abortion.
So that's total.
Jay!
So the worst year was 140. It's 140.
Oh my God.
So if we're talking hold on, because I'm going to use my own reasoning against me on this one. Because if we're talking our own logic of the cases that we bring up, like, oh, the late term abortions, like the ones that are like 7-8 months, they're few and far between. They're very rare. Or the rape, whatever you want. They're way more than 140 in a year. Let's be very fucking clear. So that graphic actually hurts your case. Hurts it.
I think they said there's been 63 billion or million or something like that.
I know a girl who got an abortion and the doctor botched her abortion and she completely ruined her uterus to the point where she can't have children now. No kids.
I've heard of that before.
When I had mine, they told me that was a possibility. You know, like just know that you could have.
Yeah, they do tell you that.
Getting pregnant.
When I went skydiving, they told me that there is a chance that the bag won't open. Anyways,
hey, I have a question, and not to go back to this topic, but if they invented a male birth control pill, it wasn't a condom, it was a pill, how many dudes do you think would sign up for that?
A lot. It's already there. Bill Gates is funding.
You guys are going to hear me. There's going to be a murder in this house.
What is going on over there?
This is my third time asking him to shut up.
What is he? Who's he talking to?
He's playing PUBG.
What's PUBG?
Left, right. I'm shooting.
God. Russo, you're old.
Okay.
I don't fuck with video games.
Russo's like, what's PUBG? Yeah, it's a video game.
Is it not a video game? I don't know.
It is a video game.
Do you think I've got any time to do that shit?
I don't either. I buy all these games, but I don't have time to do it either.
Well, you know they are. I feel like I know who Gabe is from some of the other comments. He's like, he doesn't even know what PUBG is. Punk ass bitch.
But
done.
on your
Everybody
question
can
about-
hear you. Hi guys, this is my husband. Everyone can hear you. Go, no,
Kyle.
fuck. Everyone can
Shut
hear you.
up, Kyle. Be quiet.
He just told me to shut up.
Oh, damn. Oh.
Me of all
Oh.
people.
That's because he knows you can't get up and move.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, listen. I'm a mom. We know how to.
I'm gonna get up and beat him with some brushes.
Speaking of that, speaking of pills that don't work, there's some well, I don't know if the men's sex pill would work, but anyways, there is some
What?
well, they're talking about the Paxlovid or whatever is showing that it does nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I saw that.
What is that?
I
Wait, what
saw
are you talking
that.
about?
The Pfizer wannabe. Well, when I spoke with the guy that worked for
Schmectin.
Pfizer, no, I go, oh, so it's like the schmectagazoid, and he's like, no, not at all. It's much more like hydroxychloroquine. So, yeah.
Hmm.
So, anyways, they're saying it's showing
Okay.
in their trials, it's showing no sign of preventing illness. So it's like, oh, yeah.
Well, that's isn't that like duh? Duh. It doesn't prevent it, but it kind of helps you get over it faster, right?
No, this is the one that you take as preventative care, right? I believe.
Oh,
no,
okay.
this is
Hydroxychloroquine.
no. You're right. You're right. No, this is for the
Yeah.
you do take it when you get it. They were testing it from a prophylactic perspective. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, duh.
I didn't hear that.
I hope
but
they lose all their
congratulations.
money trying to do that.
Let's hope. Well, their stock has gone down quite a bit this year. Granted, all stocks have. Welcome to the recession. What was I going to say? All right, let's move on. Disinformation board is garbage. We're going to see where it goes. Nina Jankowicz is clearly not partisan. I think not bipartisan. So I was on Fox yesterday talking of Fox Radio, to be clear. I wasn't. This mug wasn't on the screen, even though I am prepping my body for my appearance if it ever happens. Bro.
Keep prepping.
I identify as a television personality.
Let's play into Russo's delusion. You are a television personality. You are on Fox
You're a
News. Did I see you
star.
last night, Russo? I could have sworn I did.
Yeah, you
Dang.
know what? Yeah.
Why won't I ever be?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Why won't I ever be on
Because
Fox
you're
News?
associated with
probably
me.
because
I'm telling you.
Well, maybe because their clip where I talk like this. No, you never be
I
on.
love that voice. That's my favorite. Do it.
Wait, do
it
the
again.
Fez one. Remember the Fez voice he did?
Oh shit!
Did you forget it?
Yes.
Why was I doing this voice? There was a reason.
Because
I
someone was
was
in your
making
comment
fun-
section.
Here, how about this?
Dang.
Did you hear the story? Because this is how I picture Grant's voice. Texas yelled a woman for having a miscarriage. I read it on The Onion, and that's a factual magazine.
I love it.
And yes, people are banning abortions. What are you smoking?
Good.
I feel like
That's
if
how-
we did that voice, we'd have people tuning in more.
And to clarify, people are not banning abortions. It's actually elected officials that are listening to
Right.
their people are banning abortions.
Do not
Because they're
spread
listening to the people.
disinformation.
Stop it. Where's the Ministry of Truth?
Where's
We need to
Nina
get here.
Jankowicz?
I'm not more fun. I also had another character. That
Whoa!
I can never do again.
Someone
Oh,
has
is
a
it
green
Grant
instead of an Audi.
Are
Yes.
you are you
I-
a chick? Are you a chick with a
I
dick?
don't. So I did have another voice. And tell me, we'll get an audience approval. Maybe I'll start doing grants as this. So there was one that I used to do that I thought I used to never do anymore. It was
Sound like
the
Sid
name,
from
the name was
Ice Age.
Stefan. Stefan, he was a fully functioning adult with a minor speech impediment. So I don't know. I could be Grant. My name is Grant Bull. I am a fully functioning adult with a minor speech impediment. So there. It works.
See, I feel like we need a call-in number so that you can call in as
For
those
real.
people to like troll us. That would be hilarious.
Well, no, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna call into Kevin's show.
How do we
see, I
get?
just
Can we
figured-
not get a call-in number? I want a call-in number. I want to talk to people.
You have to have a roadcaster.
I can help you with it. There's
Come on now,
there's
let's
digital
get on
ways
it.
of doing it too.
Let's get
Can
on
you
it.
tell me? Because that's what I'm gonna morph my show into. I've been saving for a roadcaster. Okay, cool.
There's digital ways of doing it.
Let's go.
So this is the
If
thing.
you want
Only
us to have a phone
25%.
number, drop a one in
Yeah,
the
cool.
comments.
Yeah, if you want us to have a phone number, drop a 1, because then maybe we can get some crazy assets like Grant Bullish say, hey, but what about only 25% of people want abortions banned? So no, they are not listening to the people. You're not.
What? What?
She's saying that she has a vibrator. That's what
She
she said.
masturbates. Oh my goodness.
So graphic. So this is the problem with this comment. I actually agree with the only 25% of people want abortions banned. Soonie is one of those. I think Mo is one of those. I think Casey is one. I don't know. But again, I don't think that's the majority. But fact is, as we said, Roe versus Wade is not banning abortions, you human kumquat. Learn what the hell
I think
it is
we
actually
account for
about.
way more than 25%. Everyone's just not as bold as me to say it.
I want it banned. I don't want abortions.
I don't want it permanently banned. I still want it for some medical reasons. Very few, like less than what I can count on my hand. But that's about it. Outside of that, it needs to go.
Don't have a link.
Yo,
What do you mean?
we need to get a call-in number pronto. Like the ones.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go on to student loan forgiveness. Back to Fox News.
Oh, jeez.
This
This is gonna be a fun one.
This will be short. I think. Well, I don't know. Maybe. So if you guys don't know the backstory, Joe Biden is again bringing up the $10,000 for student loan forgiveness in the United States. So ultimately, the whole purpose behind it is, to me, for my opinion, to get votes, because it makes no sense. If this actually passes, first off, it's illegal to make an executive order. He doesn't have the votes in the Senate or in the House, so he's got to do it as an executive order, which legally can get backlash. And then all of a sudden, you got a bunch of people thinking they're getting $10,000 back, which is going to be very hard to then overturn. It's a legal conundrum and an issue. And fact is, to me, it's the stupidest thing. We're in a period of massive inflation in this country. Some experts say that it only adds 0.3 to 1%, but who cares? We're already at 8.5%, which based on real math, we're actually somewhere around 17 or 18% year over year if you use the same math as they did in 1982, and we had our other highest level of inflation. So you're going to tell me right now that this seems like a good idea to give $10,000 to those people that signed on the dotted line that they owed money for a loan. So how many of this group thinks that and go ahead and put in the comment box, 1 means that you believe we should have loan forgiveness for some people making under $150,000, or most people making under $150,000 that have student loans, $10,000 a year, or 2, you think that we should not.
I'll let you guys go first. I want to go last.
I'm dropping my vote. 2.
2.
I don't think there should be student
Drop.
loan forgiveness.
We gotta drop it in the comments. Drop your comment. Your number in the comments.
There
So
should be
2 is
no
we don't
student
do it?
loan. No, I don't think we should, because it's gonna have to. We're gonna be paying for it somehow, some way.
I
Taxpayers.
already
So,
paid
no.
my student loans. I'm pissed.
If you
I
can't
paid
pay them,
Exactly.
then don't be taking no loans out. Simple as that.
Exactly. So wait, Gail, you're very confusing. That's a double negative. So you're a 1 or you're a 2? Just
Yeah,
kidding.
'cause
I get
both-
it. What you're
Yeah,
saying.
absolutely not 2.
Absolutely
What's
not.
1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
That's because
Oh God,
Matthew.
Matthew Brown. Are you
Matthew
a Caitlyn
Brown.
Jenner fan?
What does 1.5 mean?
He's a
Caitlyn
Biden
Jenner.
voter.
Barack.
He
What does
voted-
1.5 mean?
He voted for Biden.
Well, this is all his
He's a
fault.
tramp.
So
He's a tranny.
Here's my
Casey,
stance.
go
with
ahead.
it, Is when you take out a loan and you actually do something to better yourself, or you take accountability to be able to learn something or do something with this money, you are accountable for paying it back. You have to pay it back. Morally, from a moral standpoint, you should be paying it back. There is no student loan forgiveness. Now, our government also should not be issuing out any loans for colleges at all. That allows colleges to be able to inflate their pricing and be able to just run it up and just give out a crap ton more money to students, run up their fees and interest rates, and charge them more. So you are falling into the system that the government wants you to do. You are reliant on them. This is something that we should not be doing at all, mainly due to that situation. We are feeding big companies money that you are paying interest on, and the government's benefiting from it. Just like Social Security. Same thing. Social Security is the same situation. Don't trust
So-
the government to give you a loan.
So I like Mo, I paid mine off in 10 years. Granted, like Casey said, the price of colleges have continued to skyrocket. They're up like 150% in the last 20 years. Why? Because they know loans are going to cover it. So they've continued to go up and it skyrocketed, and they're spending massive amounts of money on school improvement that don't need to get done necessarily. It just makes it shinier and a better prospect to bring students to the school. So there's some massive flaws on this. Also, the people that didn't go to college, why, if it's not tax dollars, because Biden will say, well, no, we'll just print more money. Like, it's not necessarily that either, because inflation is tax. So we're about to be facing every indicator is there for us to be in a recession right now. There's no way for us to get out of it. Everything from the stock market to inflation. The big hot conservative speaking point is stagflation. Which means we have a stagnant economy, and then you have inflation combined, and then you're talking about giving these loans back to people that technically had nothing to do with these people taking loans. And also, Casey brought up the because there's funding. Here's another area to talk about. If you want to help people, look at some of the healthcare bills that people have had to pay off for decades, because they're in debt for hundreds of thousands of dollars for something they had no control over, instead of, you got an education. It may not be working out as planned, but you tried. Why would you forgive that? And my last point, and I use this on the radio, and I've said this for a million, the best thing I ever saw to explain why this to me is a much bigger voting point, to be totally honest, than abortion, because I think this is absolutely asinine to me. And it just, to me, it hits me in my heart more than anything else. It's all Trump's fault. So this is my explanation. There was a father that went up to Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, and said, because she's still big on 50,000 per student. And he said, so you're going to tell me that I spent the last 10 years of my life saving up so that my daughter could go to college, I could pay for her so she wouldn't have to take out student loans. I never got a new car. I never went on vacation. We never had anything new. I see my neighbors buying a new boat, doing all these different things. Their kid, who, by the way, still makes under $150,000 because they're fresh out of college. So their kid ended up going to college, taking out student loans, while the parents, they vacationed every summer. They did all this. And you're going to tell me that's fair and that's the American way? And I know you could say life isn't fair, but this is just common sense at this point. And this goes against every bit and fiber of American tradition and what it means to be an American. And I think this is one of the dumbest and silliest propositions. And I don't believe this is actually something that Biden wants to do. This is a huge carrot to put in front of the American public come election time, because he's going to lead it right up there and say, look, if we don't win the House, if we don't win the Senate, all of a sudden they're going to take away what I want to give you. I want to give this to you. And I think that this is just one gigantic soda machine in every classroom, high school election speaking point, and it's hot fucking garbage.
Just like abortion, perfect timing.
Agreed.
Well, Biden said, I'm not prepared to leave abortion to the whims of the public.
Oh my God. Let's not talk about abortion anymore.
Because privacy is a right in the Constitution.
What happens?
Look at-
Leave that right there.
So that comment, among the class of 2020, 55% of bachelor degree recipients took out student loans, graduating with an average of $28,400 in federal and private debt. Proving your point.
I don't know, like, should we feel bad for them? Because I don't. It's 2020. If anything, I feel they should be pissed off at their parents for not preparing them for life and helping them understand what a loan is. Because a lot of students get their money and blow it on dumb stuff, and don't, like, you're not even supposed to spend it all. You're supposed to spend it on what you need for school and leave the rest. That way you're not paying a ton back.
I
don't
bought
feel bad for them.
tires. Listen, I bought tires for my car. I was buying groceries with whatever was left over with my student loan money. I mean, I paid for my school stuff, but like, I was living on my student loans, but I paid my student loans off.
Can I ask?
I know a lot of people that did the same.
Well, that was part of it. You did, yeah, of course. That was part of the loans that you took out. But here's the other question: why can't people look at this from a sensible perspective? What's making it hard, and why can't the GOP counter this? Like, again, this is a failure on the Republican side. Why can't they go, no, we're not doing student loan forgiveness, but we do want to give people a path to making this actually, feasible. How about we get rid of the massive amount of interest being charged to students?
Yep.
Why don't we have that discussion? And then secondly, I'm okay with a consideration. And again, I know this sounds socialist, but our republic does have some socialist. I mean, we have some public healthcare. Our education system does have a socialist side to it. So why can't we talk about having an option? Every state has an option for a free university. If you qualify for it, if you put in the work, if you do the different things, you get to take that, because that's something that is a choice that you decided to make. If you do that, and that's a preconceived choice, we know what's going on, instead of 10 years later, 15 years later going, oh, you get to have something erased in a decision you made in the past. It's a moving forward position to prevent issues in the future, and then to remove the egregious interest rates. Why can't we just have some middle ground conversation?
I would be against that.
The free school?
Yeah. I would be against that.
Why is
If
that?
there was, I'm sorry, what?
I just said, why is that?
Because I think people should be able to opt into what they want to pay.
Okay.
I already have 3 kids. I'm not paying for your 3 kids to go to school.
Sure.
True that.
I get it.
No.
And again, my bigger sticking point is interest rates. The school thing to me is a conversation.
Now, I will agree with you on that. The interest rates are astronomical, and they definitely could lower them. If this was, and I brought this up on a podcast I did, we were talking about student loans. If they're showing good history of, being on times with their payments, then there should be an incentive behind that. Like, hey, we're going to drop your interest rate. Start at whatever you're going to start, whatever the cap is, and then incentivize them actually paying it off, and then get to the point where there is no interest rate on it and they can pay it off and not go broke. So I do agree with that. I think that's an awesome solution to this whole problem, without having to cripple the middle class from paying for your child's education.
That's all that does.
No.
I think it'd be interesting to see like who the people are that are like, or what the degree is that the people have that want their student loan forgiven, because I'm pretty sure it's people with like, they got their degree in some bullshit like field, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And like they can't get a job with it, and so that's why they can't really afford to pay off their loan. Like, I'm willing to bet that's the majority of people.
I would agree.
I know someone that has spent $70,000 to have a master's in Italian cheese.
I mean, I might go. Listen, I might go. I don't know if I'd take out a loan, but I would love to take a class
Really?
to eat cheese.
Like,
that is
really?
Cheese?
Cheese.
That right there is what I like to call a Munster loan.
Like, really? Like, it's ridiculous. And he worked alongside me at a call center.
Like, I thought you said chi, like in like some sort of function.
No,
in the
cheese.
room.
That will not be. Hold on. That will not be a breeze for him to pay off. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Brie. It's a kind of
big
cheese.
thing is-
Sorry, I know you don't know cheeses because you're.
Question for everybody here.
Yeah.
For everybody here. Should the government be issuing out loans?
No. I think they should be private loans.
That's 100% of where it should be, because that's
Private.
how you take care of the market, and capitalism works at its best.
Italian cheese is better than gender studies. Hey, look, my auntie has a master's degree in special education. She is trained in virtually everything there is to know. She could open her own center if she wanted to.
Can she help me out? Can she help Grant out?
No, she doesn't help with speech. But she's still struggling, man. Like, struggling. She's still in low income housing. She can't afford anything. So in that case, since she is actively paying her student loans, I think they should cut those people a break, because they went to school for nothing and spent all that money to like be competitive in the market.
But that's like reparations. Like, how do you get so specific? Who knows if some of these people jerked off in college and they, my specialty
honestly,
was
Russo, if we're
beer
being
bonging.
honest, I think the people who are actively paying their student loans and not pissing it off, more likely are the ones who just probably are like, shit. And either way, if we implemented the solution that you gave and I gave extra teeth to it, people who are still actively paying their student loans, they still shouldn't have high interest rates. So either
agree
way,
with you.
they're
I
being
think the slack-
incentivized.
I think the slack should be on the interest rate. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I can address Pinky's comment.
Yes.
Student loans are one of the only things, much like the medical or pharmaceutical industry, that can't have lawsuits. The
Federal student loans.
federal stones,
Sally Mae.
federal stone.
Sally
Yeah,
Mae.
you cannot, when you go bankrupt, those stick on your record for for forever. So
Yep, you can't get rid of
student loans.
Federal
They're
student loans.
much like
Private
herpes.
student loans, you can.
I'm stuck on that too, Jamie. 70,000 for some damn cheese. I thought he said cheese.
No,
I
it's
said, what
cheese.
is that?
Cheese.
Yeah.
It is cheese. And it is.
I mean, you could work at like fine
Crazy.
dining restaurant. I don't fucking know, but I think there's a lot of people out there that were like, I got to go to college. What did you specialize in? Going to all the football games, and I blew a lot of dudes. Found my husband.
What did
Alcohol.
you major in, Russo, when you went to college?
Which is hilarious. I was a graphic. Oh, I got to go on a tangent. So I was a graphic design. I went to school for communication design with a minor in advertising from Marquette. So this is what pains me to my core. So I saw the graduating class for my communication design or graphic design class for 2022. And I'm like, I'll bite. I'm curious. I'm going to go ahead and look at their pictures, see what's going on the Facebook. And because they listed, and it went from, we had a class of like 30 something, and now it's clearly smaller, and the class was like 14 people. Out of the 14, 10 of them had a virtue signaling picture, and not like pink hair. Like pink hair I could deal with. You're an art school student, but no, like they either had the ring around like the I got my shot, which is the basics. Then you've got the white girl wearing the black silence is black violence or something like that. And like it was every single one, the guys and the girls had these, each one of them just I should take some screenshots. It was so bad. I'm like, oh God. I mean, you take an art school and you made it even more leftist. And it's like, because I know one of my favorite professors that used to like follow Be the Change in the beginning was like, I love it. And he's still one of the nicest human beings I could possibly know. I've heard from other people that he's like, man, it's a shame what happened to Anthony. And I'm like, what? That I actually grew a fucking brain? Sorry. Anyways,
Let me address this real quick, Phyllis. And Russo, it actually can happen. There is a channel for it. And I worked in that department at Discover Card when we issued out student loans. So it can be done.
Yeah,
it's like can you tell her how? Because she's 63, I believe, and still has private loans after a bankruptcy. So
no, I'm saying for the student loans, it can.
Yeah,
and there's
it is a student.
You have to be. The unique scenario is you have to be under a certain income. So if the student doesn't work, it makes it very easy, and you can start claiming that and just live with your parents. And so that's what people are doing now.
Her parents are dead.
Be under a certain income and can't find a job for X period
She's
of time.
SOL, Russo.
And they fit into that scenario.
So because she went back to college to be a chiropractor, not back to, but when she was in her 30s, and she's still paying off that loan debt.
I'm sure.
Now.
I'm sure. It's a pain in the butt. It's not simple.
Hey, everyone do what I did.
Okay. Happen, and it's starting to come out more and more.
And this is actually an area that my mom and I disagree, because she believes in she likes the idea of certain. See, I was under a certain income. Yeah. So she actually is a fan of certain student loan forgiveness, and I get her case, but I think it's a little bit more rare. What does that say?
Just do what I did. I went to school for computer stuff. I just learned operating systems. Okay, I learned how to build a computer, and I did it in like 10 months, and I don't have any debt. And I would also the median for my profession is $100K a year, so you don't have to spend 5-6 years going to college, man. You can go and grab a trade right quick and get certified in everything possible. Make yourself a competitive employee in the market. You can go private sector, you can go public sector, you can go military, you can take contract work. I'm just saying.
Here's one issue that it's kind of where the other side's argument is interesting. Is I think there is a misconception when people sign on the dotted line of what they're when they get their loans. So they recently did a study on asking how much the starting pay was for their position. And college, I mean, let's be honest, the 17 to 20-year-old demographic isn't as sharp as, I mean, they're all, sometimes they're just dumb, but literally they were like on average like 48% off of what they thought it was 48% higher. So there's all these people like,
Wow.
I'm going to get out of school and make $113,000. And it's like, that's the median after like 10 years or something. And they don't get that kind of stuff.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
That's actually sad.
I didn't know that percentage, but I'm not surprised because so many people come into my work. I work in the software world, and they come straight out of college, and they're like, I thought I would be making more money. And I'm like,
do you have all the certs I have?
You have no experience.
So this is another, and this is again where government is a problem. And then we got to get off this. We'll do our last thing and get out of here. But like this is what's interesting, and I watched this firsthand because again, this is my mother. So the interesting thing was she trained to be a chiropractor. She took out, I mean, I think it was around $100,000 in loans is what it was to become, you're considered a doctor. You are an actual DR, and you're also a DC, a doctor of chiropractic. And right when she got out of college is when, and a little bit before then, when the insurance companies, because big pharma, and this is probably where some of my distaste and definitely my mom's distaste to big pharma come into play, they stopped insuring certain things to go to a chiropractor because it's natural wellness. It takes away from the major machine that is the pharmaceutical company. So essentially it became, even though you took out loans very similar to being a doctor, it became very difficult in that profession unless you opened up different chiropractic places. There's a lot of chiropractors that struggled for decades after my mom went to college because of the fact that our government looks down upon natural wellness because it hurts the pharmaceutical industry. So unfortunately, it is a individual case. It is rare because again, I don't think the chiropractors are the common thing in this instance, but the chiropractor got screwed. Those that went to college for chiropractic got screwed over a long period of time. And I think there's multiple issues to that, but again, that's totally a side note on that, but yeah,
I can understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. What's fascinating now is chiropractors have kind of hook, line, and sinker on a lot of levels bit into the like, well, when I got the vaccine, I figured it was the right thing to do. And it's like, what fucking school did you go to? Anyways, leaving that alone. Shifty Schiff and Nancy go to Ukraine, and then we can call this a night.
Pencil neck.
Running late. Oh, geez.
So first off, why is it that they're the ones over there in Ukraine?
Because everybody else is on the.
Are you really asking why? Are you being facetious?
I get it.
Banned.
So here's the other problem to this whole story is the fact that honestly, I was kind of like, all right, I was starting to watch what's going on again, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of imagery of like, why is Russia still just pushing this issue? So I know we talked a lot about in the beginning. I was very on Soonie's side, and I still was. I'm like, I want to distance myself from whatever the fuck is going on out there. I've dropped the F-bomb a lot tonight. Sorry, Nancy. Yes. But ultimately, now that we're bringing it back with Nancy and Schiff being the ones over there talking to Zelensky, if it's so dangerous, man, it's impressive that they're just out in the middle of the street doing their thing. Yep. And then there's more footage that I'm now seeing again because I started going down the rabbit hole, and it's like these people are leaving bombed out buildings with not a speck of dust on them again, and I'm like, oh God!
You saw that? Did you see that? See?
Yeah. So I'm starting to look at different things and go, what are we still doing? Except for the fact I know we've given I think $15 billion.
Even more. Biden's trying to give more.
And then yes, Russia
33 billion now.
Supposedly on May 9th, Russia is scheduled to declare full-blown war at this point. I
hope they do.
So be honest, I hope they do. This whole thing that's going on in Ukraine, now you're seeing Nancy and Schiff. Does that not raise any eyebrows?
I mean, we're talking about two of the most corrupt figures in politics.
History.
And this is a money, and this is a money laundering capital of the world right now.
Yeah.
So
and they got told cash only, so they had to bring the briefcase with the cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
but like, let's not forget that Putin put together this whole list of people that were banned from the entire area, like surrounding them. So so I mean, that's why. And Nancy wasn't on that, neither was Shifty Schiff. But it's kind of funny to me that they couldn't just get on a Zoom call to reassure the American people that we stand with Ukraine, because that's what she says that this was about, was to let America know that they stand with Ukraine. So in order for us to be sure you stand with Ukraine, we had to see Nance and Shifty go over there and just like make a show. I don't even know. Now there's some rumor that they weren't even in Ukraine, that they were in Poland or something like that.
Well, they had to fly into Poland. You can't fly into.
But they never left Poland, is what the rumor is.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is I think Poland also has a big portion into this. Is we're sending so much military. What do you call it? Just military equipment. We're sending a whole bunch to Poland, and then Poland's distributing it to them. And that is where it's like, where is all this money going? Where is all of these things? You don't see it. Now, when it comes to what Russia is doing, I'm not in support of that either, because people are dying, and I don't like that, and we're destroying a country. I don't like that either. But both governments, in my opinion, should just go to hell. That's all where I'm at. But when we're talking about giving them $33 billion more, but you have CNN questioning $40 billion that Elon Musk spent on Twitter, like what the hell? Like you're going to question what Elon Musk is spending his money on, but we're not going to question what our government is spending our money on. That is all of our money. That is taxpayer money. And we got to start looking at that and focusing on it, because this debt is not getting any easier for us.
Nope.
We spent. I saw that we've spent double in Ukraine what we spent on our own border, which is completely out of control. So this is.
I wouldn't be surprised to hear that.
Hilarious. I don't know. You guys know who Malcolm Nance is?
Yeah, I know who that dude is.
Did you see he went over to Ukraine? They filmed him in front of some random trees with a maybe real gun, and then he did an article right after that he was being protected and he was too valuable as an asset, so he's there to talk to the Ukrainian people to see what's going on. Meanwhile, in his interview there, he said, the time for talking is over. And he's literally dressed up as a soldier. He is 60 years old. He is fat. And he's already one of my I hate him as a journalist. And this is now, yeah. He's wearing like, how can
he has a patch. He has a patch on his chest that says his last name. How do you make that?
And then above it is Ukrainian's flag, and then America is below,
which is not cool.
Which is disrespectful if we're talking about insignia and how it goes. Hey, look, this is a nigga.
How do you do anything with that glove? Can I just ask? You're not shooting.
Hey, I was always told by my grandpa the only thing you can do right with gloves on is piss your pants.
Dude,
so
those are some snowboarding gloves. Like, what is that? That's not military issued.
Anyway, Soonie, sorry. What did you want to say?
I just said that that's a nigga. All right. Certainly, listen.
You can say
Black
it.
Folks
I can't.
Ain't going to fight no more wars. All right, especially not for no corrupt country that has Nazis there. Niggas are gonna do that, but black folks ain't gonna go do that. That's crazy.
Your face has me laughing right now. You were funny today.
So
good catch on the flag stuff, Soonie. That didn't even trigger in my mind until you pointed that out.
Are you triggered now? Yeah.
No, you should never. American flag should always be the top, no matter what.
Exactly.
Period.
No
End of story.
What. And you better have it the right way.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was flipped.
You leave with your starts. So
was it flipped? See, I'm about to talk shit about him all day.
I'm gonna post that picture. You can't say it's on the chest. You can't say it's the right way or wrong way.
Oh no, you can. No, hold on, because think about it. His name is correct, so you know that it's correct. Hold on, it is flipped.
Left to right. So that
no, not because Putin says so, Grant. Because I actually read. I know you think black people don't read because you're probably liberal, but there's like 1,000 books that I listen to, and there's so much stuff that I read. And you know what else would help you? History. History would help you. That's what you just said is full of shit. It's backwards.
It's backwards.
Yeah, it is backwards.
Where you get that insignia from, bruh? Who gave you that patch?
All of those patches. Like, where in the hell are all of them come from?
He bought those. He went to Walmart and
Amazon. Yeah, somebody said he's in like Rochester, New York, in the forest, like taking these pictures. Like, it's bad out here.
Oh,
So I know that I have to admit I am coming out right now. I have become a
Oh,
full-blown
Gay.
Elon Musk fanboy.
Oh, I
Oh,
his-
you're really trying to
go.
set Soonie off tonight,
his
yes.
hold on, Soonie, you got to hear these tweets. You got to hear these tweets.
nah.
So
Hey,
hold on.
hey, goodbye, Russo.
He's making jokes. First off, this is a
What?
joke. This isn't political. He says ultimately the downfall of the Freemasons was giving away their stone cutting services for nothing. Fucking hilarious. But second, so he says, who funds these organizations and want to control your access to information? Let's investigate. And he essentially is showing a CNN article that's like trying to tear him apart. But he's like, I wonder who's controlling this. And in the same token, right after that, he said sunlight is the best disinfectant. He's killing the game. He's now reached more followers than Trump ever had. And he's even sharing shit like this.
He's just being fearless. He is being fearless on Twitter.
Did you see him? Did you see him at the Met Gala on the red carpet? He was like posing like a model. He was like making all these like funny faces. Oh my god, I've never seen him like that.
He's Tony Stark. He has become Tony Stark. I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Come on, dude. Soonie's done. Look, oh, she's rage quitting. You got Soonie to rage quit.
But what is she gonna do? Roll away?
Yeah.
Yeah, Soonie, you're gonna look real tough.
Oh shit.
No.
Well, that said, let's wrap it up. Now that we no longer allowed to say whatever we want because we don't have the black person on the screen.
I'm sure we offended a million different people tonight, but that's all right.
It was a fun show.
Oh, so we believe that Ukraine is full of Nazis because Putin said so? No, because the Azov Battalion actually has a history of being Nazis. God blessed.
Beg Soonie back in that voice. Maybe she'll come back.
Soonie. No, she's not backstage. She's actually gone. Soonie.
Yeah, Soonie is actually gone. She's out.
Sometimes when Soonie leaves, I get so upset. So sad. But maybe I can't. Never mind. All right, we've been here 4 hours and Soonie got bored, so we have to go.
Every
Okay.
country has Nazis, you morons. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
You are one. Soonie's back.
Oh yes, she's back.
Are you done being
I
a
knew
fan girl?
I knew the voice would bring you back.
She didn't see
knew
me.
it.
I did.
I didn't see it.
I did all
What
3
happened?
voices just for you. I was like, Soonie, why don't you come back to the screen, please?
Oh,
I miss you.
I can't.
Come back.
I'm about to troll you again. I'm gonna find this clip and I'm gonna troll you again.
Here you go. You ready? You can take this clip. Ready? So I just have one thing to say. Obama was the best president we have ever had. Bar none. Take it. Do with it what you want.
This guy said Tony Stark.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that.
Tony
Here you go. You ready? See, Soonie, I'm not going to lie, but I am started thinking that Elon Musk is 100% Tony Stark. Iron Man. Yep.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Russo's that special ed kid in the classroom that's like, ooh, Elon Musk is gonna come back and he's gonna turn into Tony Stark. And you know what? The Avengers are gonna merge out of nowhere and save humanity from
Russo-
this diabolical government.
And the
that we
only
have.
currency is going to be Dogecoin.
Russo is the reason why we have no child left behind. That is why.
Why? Because they pulled out?
Russo's that kid on the short bus.
Man, for real.
The classroom outside the lunchroom where all the special kids be, and you be
Oh,
poking your head in there looking at them.
Oh, in my elementary school, that was the black kids. Oh, no. Different
Oh.
thing.
Oh.
Nah, we have way more white
Nah.
students in special ed in the South that I'm from.
Oh, no.
See,
Never mind.
That's because they were rednecks and you guys didn't.
I heard what he
understand.
said, but you know what? He's showing that he is a liberal, and liberals get off on having control over blacks and their emotions. So I just did one of those.
Who are you talking
Oh,
about?
geez.
Me?
You.
Russo.
She's calling
I'm be-
you a liberal now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
That's what they
I've
do to
always
blacks.
said-
You know, blacks that don't fall in line. They be like, you know what? And it was a bunch of black kids in there. Now what? And us free blacks are like, give a fuck. They probably were stupid. And
Oh no, you just used a fallacy. You said free
What?
blacks. There's no such thing.
oh, there is, man.
Oh my god.
She said I was liberal. I had to say a liberal statement because liberals don't believe that. So that's why I said that. Clearly, that's not true because I have a fucking brain. Let's be very clear. Everybody's free, you dumbasses.
Listen,
Go
I'm gonna
fucking
stand
march.
up. This is wrong.
All right, we
White
gotta get
fragility on this live.
Oh man,
No, guys, we
Anyways.
have fun. All right, it's funny.
indeed
Laugh.
we do.
Yeah, laugh. Life is too short.
Literally.
All right, go ahead, Soonie. I'm sure you're gonna do another show tonight. Wrap it up. What do you got going on tonight?
Probably a very short Instagram live. To recap what we talked about on here. So if you want to tune into that, you can tune in on. Is it Soonie_the middle? Actually, it's right there. That thing right there. Just type it in on IG. And you can tune in. Other than that, I'm chilling. You took me out between redefining she, okay, and calling she don't mean women, okay, and then calling Iron Man Elon Musk. I am tapped out. You just sucked all the life out of me. I don't even have anything witty to say because I legit rage quit when you said that. What?
You didn't rage quit. You just
kind of just rolled away.
Oh, and wait. And there's a difference between black folks and niggas, okay? And niggas go to Walmart and buy their insignia and put it on their chest, their patch, and make it seem like they're fighting in another country when they're actually not.
We hold again. Malcolm Nance. Do they have a McDonald's over here? You got a McDonald's?
Still find them Nazis and do absolutely nothing because I'm too valuable to the U.S. To do what? Bro, I can't.
All right.
That's me. I'm black and I'm not impressed. That's my TED Talk.
I'm black and not impressed. All right, just to end it, guys. If you want to support us, bit.ly/GSBTC. That is the Great American Syndicate. I've been writing articles. I did one on DeSantis. I got another one coming out. The only way to read that, I called it the Santa Claus. It was actually a really good article, if I may say so myself.
Claus. No, you
The
did
Santa
not just say that out loud.
It's actually the title of the article. The Santa Claus. Yeah. It's a good article. Anyway, so
hey,
check
and
that
guys,
out.
don't
There you
forget.
go.
Please remind Russo that being a woman is not a feeling. Okay, you need
True
to get
story.
these shirts because he needs to change his definition of she. See how I keep
Jenner-
saying he?
Caitlyn Jenner is not a woman. She's not a woman.
She? What? You just did it
There
again.
you go again.
I'm picking my battles. I'm picking my
Caitlyn
battles.
Jenner doesn't know you, so whether you call him a he or a she, wouldn't matter.
Shit. Shit. Okay. That's actually, I kind of like that. I'm gonna call it shit. Shit. That sounds like I'm gonna call it the Amber Turd.
Oh, she's gonna be on the stand tomorrow, guys.
And on that note, I'm gonna go to bed and take a shit. So
I'm gonna
Whoa!
transgender people live rent free in your heads. That's weird.
They do because they're fucking weird. Shit.
Like, get out of it. Well, actually, they live rent free in a couple places. Aren't there the areas that if you can prove that you're transgender, there's state sponsored funding
And you
to
get
give them $900?
reparations.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, $900. I think it's
Damn it.
somewhere in California. You get $900 a month if they qualify
Yeah.
and if they're transgender. Yeah.
How do you prove it? Like you show your scars? I don't understand. What do you do?
You pull your pants down
Be
and
like,
say,
so here you go. I am dressed like woman, and then here's my penis.
I thought we would get 40 acres and a mule, but whatever. I'm
Speaking
gonna
of
say,
mule-
well, that might be worth it.
Speaking of mule, go watch 2,000 Mules coming out.
Oh,
live
yeah,
We need to.
So it's
Yeah.
not out
Wait.
yet, right? It's not
on
out
the
yet.
7th. It comes out on the 7th.
Got it.
It's in theater in some theaters. Like it actually was in a theater here.
Yeah,
in
it is in
Utah
theaters.
last night.
This is online I'm talking about. Sorry,
Yeah.
everybody. This is
I
online.
heard Jeffrey Toobin was going to go watch it at a theater, but
Yeah, I'm
nobody
sure.
wanted to sit next to him.
No one wanted to be with him at all.
Okay. I don't know.
Fucking
what I
Toobin.
What the
was
fuck
gonna-
is wrong with Grant, man? He's assimilating fellatio in the comment section.
Just let
I
him
sound more like I
let him
have a
be,
penis.
Grant.
Let's give this a shot. He's actually right now. His boyfriend's like, "Oh, why are you still watching Truth Will Set You Free? We're trying to get some deep dick action. Why are you still watching those crazy conservative-ish people?"
Wow.
Just kidding. He's got a white boyfriend. It's smaller. There you go.
Wow. I'm traumatized. I'm gonna go open my Bible.
No,
You are way too comfortable putting that in your mouth. You better not. You better not.
I'm not slobbing on it. I'm not like.
You better not.
I'm pretty sure we're all going to need Jesus in a little bit. So
I believe it's though you pronounce it Jesus. Okay. Oh God, I'm done. All right, I'm done. So was there anything else? Oh yeah, check out where's our podcast. If you want to watch us on podcast.
yeah, what the fuck
listen,
am I doing?
If you want to listen, if you missed anything, it was a good episode. We fought a lot at the beginning, and then we ended with random objects in my mouth.
We just had a difference of opinion.
It always makes for a good episode.
Be prepared with btc.com for our My Patriot Supply, 15 or so, $150.
How was your food? You never ate it. You didn't eat it when we were on.
I had food.
Patriot Supply. You had a Patriot Supply.
You said you were
going to try it.
Oh, I thought you meant tonight. I'm like, I don't have dinner here. It was good. I tried. Like, there's like some things you have to prepare, like in soup, but they have a lot of good stuff. Everybody that I know that has tried a bunch of their stuff, they're like, this is stupid because I just keep eating it instead.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's really
when the shit hits the fan, you're gonna be like,
yeah, no, I want to. So they gave me a free few days supply, and I'm like, I don't want to go through too much of it. But the one thing I tried, pretty tasty actually.
Just freeze dry your own stuff. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, it's true. Sounds like a plan. All right. I bet Grandpa's like, I freeze dry my boyfriend's stuff. His semen's good.
No.
It's got amino acids and
oh my god,
so good. It's high in protein.
Yo, get off the internet. You're done. Somebody take his computer.
It's the end of the world.
Yo.
Oh man.
Oh god. All right, I gotta get out of here.
I
Take it
do
easy,
not
guys.
support this message.
Oh god. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, see you later.